You do the thing. If I make myself disappear from the screen, does that work? Does that work? I'm
Yeah.
happy. Okay, good. Yay! Okay. Uh, let's spray air at everybody for no apparent reason. Hey, welcome in tonight to this week's episode of Roll With It. It is a slightly different experience this week because we're missing two party members. For the time being, we might be joined by one other during this informal session, but that remains to be seen. Uh, Otherwise, we're going to, as we said in the post, I guess, roll it back a little bit and talk about some of the campaign thus far, and go back to campaign or session 0. We'll kind of recap from some of the stuff that's happened, and anybody here or joining us that has questions about things that have happened, feel free to we'll ask what we can. Or answer what we can of the questions. There might be a few that just for either character development or story progression purposes, might not be answered, but I think that's it. So, um, want to start with the recap first, guys? We'll start there and see. We'll go through some of the progression and see if anybody has any questions or comments or anything about things that have happened since the beginning, I guess.
A year
Yeah,
ago.
right back in, didn't we start like middle of March, right?
Yeah, it's been
Session zero.
I think so. It's been a little over a year. I was getting
Yeah,
ready to say it doesn't feel like it, but we're like literally on episode like 30 or something. So,
yeah, yeah.
and then doing
Uh,
every other week is what,
yeah.
26 weeks is a year, or
Mm-hmm.
26 would be a year
26
for
would be
us.
a year, and I know we missed one or two in there. So yeah, we've been going at this for about 15 months at this point. So, and oh yes, Tim has joined us.
You get to see me.
Yay!
You get to see
He's
my
That,
beautiful mug.
back.
that's
He's
him.
back.
He's right
That's
there.
him. I think he's over there for me on the
He's up
thing.
Yeah,
there
you're
for
over
me.
there.
Oh, he's over there.
Uh,
Okay, yeah, he's there. I see him on
Oh,
the screen. Yep. Okay. Yep.
uh,
Okay.
so new
Looks fine.
computer,
both ways for
new
me is up there.
new lot of things. So it's working good.
Good. We'll be glad to have you back on visual anyhow, so make all the role playing and whatnot for this upcoming session a whole lot easier.
Yeah, it should. I agree. Then when I shrug or make those facial, I don't have to actually visually or verbally convey it.
I
less
mean,
less of us trying to cut you off too, because we can actually see you're getting ready to talk.
Yeah, that is very true.
be less like an audiobook and more back to an actual movie. So, but that's a fantastic development. And then, like I said, in 2 weeks it'll be back to regular sessions. But up until then, we'll go ahead and do a quick recap of what we've had happen thus far. So, yeah, going back March of last year, we started with session 0 with the group meeting up through through coming to Weymouth in order to accept a job, meeting at the Bashful Mermaid. They came in 3 different groups. Rith came by himself. Rowan and Kerr, or Baron now, came via, well, Daggerford. I believe was the original location they started from, just south of Waterdeep. And Lilith and Kovac came from areas unknown to the north. But you guys all met up at the Bashful Mermaid, spoke to the bartender there, and eventually Lord Kivin, who gave you guys your first job, which was to go investigate some strange happenings in the King's Forest, which led you guys to meeting Arvin the Ranger the next day.
You know how hard it is to not say Kevin there?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
I can understand that. But yeah, Do you guys have any comments or impressions you wanted to give from the initial, I guess, journey into the forest, including the first encounter with the wolves, where Kerr took point?
You know, him being out front doesn't always seem to work out.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, I still don't think we've learned that lesson either.
It's a toss-up sometimes. I think there's a coin flip going on between Kerr and Rowan to see who's going to be that first one in the line of danger.
This is pre-battle bard, though.
It is pre-battle. But yeah, he has just had 3 wolves in that first encounter, which, based on the current party's level and whatnot, would be kind of a walk in the park. But, I mean, I think Kerr dropped in the first round on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
He got attacked by 2 of them after his animal handling check.
Yeah. Making him smell like skunk did nothing to dissuade them from attacking him. Yeah.
So, I did have more plan to that encounter that I ended up not going with, because there was supposed to be a bear that came in as well. But I figured after the way that the initial encounter went, I was like, I think the wolves were good enough.
Yeah, I liked that encounter. I thought it was a good first step for our characters to kind of learn them and learn what they're capable of, and just start that adventure out.
Yeah, because level 1's always a interesting place to start.
It's difficult to write for. The monster seems super limited.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you have to, like, at the guys who you guys are at a point now. I mean, challenge rating always seems off for whatever they're giving you. But I mean, at that level, a challenge rating 1 monster actually seems threatening, because a single hit to almost any single character, aside from a raging barbarian, is almost could almost be a one-shotter. Then they're just down. So the whole first thing was definitely difficult to encounter for, especially since that was supposed to just kind of be a teaser when you guys finally got to the archway and encountered the darklings that were there, because I think there was 2 of them at that point.
I think we had 3 darklings there that we fought.
Was it 3 that time? Because I know you guys fought a second group.
Yeah, because there were 2 small ones and 1 larger one.
Okay,
I remember.
Yeah, that's right. Because they were kind of stealthed and hidden.
I just remember seeing like a blue spark thrown at Kovac.
Yeah.
I mean, wait, I have really detailed notes about this encounter.
Mm-hmm. As you do with all of them. That's how we got all our notes here.
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
Straight from my notebook.
But I mean, yes, you guys had the Darkling encounter there, as well as like investigating the archway. So, any comments or questions around that area there? I guess the whole first journey into the forest.
I didn't expect them to explode.
Yeah.
Like into a blinding light. But I'm glad that I was never close enough to any of them for that to matter much for me.
Yeah, that was an interesting ability. In their death throes, that they just explode in this. Considering that, the particular creatures themselves are kind of eschew light entirely, so it's kind of ironic that they explode in that bright burst. So I think only one person got impacted by that.
My character did. Yep.
Yeah. I
The
mean, I
hammer
think-
went boom, and it went boom, and he was like, "I can't see."
Yep.
Uh,
Yeah, that was.
well, I think Kovac might have too, because I remember giving him a potion and saying sorry for shooting the one and killing it that was right next to him. Or I healed him or something afterwards and was like, sorry, man. My bad.
Yeah, I don't remember how much. I don't think they did a ton of damage. I think they hit. Maybe there's a second battle. Maybe in the second battle where Rith got hit. I think most of the damage probably came to Lilith and whomever else touched the pedestal.
Oh,
or
that was
arch.
me.
That was
I
Kurt
touched
too.
it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. I had Kurt step up onto it.
Right.
I know. Well, I don't know if this can be answered, but I know you said it felt really cold to them, and I was just going to ask if it was cold damage or necrotic damage. 'Cause
Oh.
I was going to say, because both feel cold, don't they?
Yep. It was actually both.
Because I didn't know, like, if I walked on it, if it would hurt me as much having the cold resistance.
Yeah, because it would have been with that particular one. If you actually touched it, I did not have a save for that because it was imbued magically by them. So if you made contact with it, then it just impacted you. But it was like a D4 of cold and D4 of necrotic. So
Gotcha.
it wasn't necessarily meant to kill anybody. I'm sure if I could roll 2D, 4 off of both D4s, it probably could have hurt someone quite a bit. But
It did
yeah,
a pretty good job on taking Kerr down.
Yeah.
Almost there.
Well, I mean, you'd already been taken down once, so
Yeah.
Well, we weren't really that high in level either at that time either. So
no, because I think after I can't remember if I had you guys level.
I think you had us level 2 when we got
after
there.
for
Yeah.
the second one, right? For the second time you went back,
Yeah.
I think you were level 2 then.
yeah, it might have been
Think
like
so.
when we went back with like Kevin and all of them.
Yeah, because then you guys returned back to town, met up with Kevin to give him the information that you could after you learned that there was a symbol for the Queen of Air and Darkness on there, and then he went back with his 2 guards and the priestess of Tamora, I think was who made elected for that one, Ella, and had the second fight with more Darklings and the Death Dogs, which I'm pretty sure that Rith tanked in that one there, because kind of what barbarians do.
When he's able to, I mean,
Yeah.
when others don't run up in front of him.
Or when
Considering
he's
you already knew what what to expect
Yeah.
there, it wasn't like in other ones where you guys had to plan around being stealthy. So, oh yeah, I'm guessing when he also knows the plan too.
Yes, that's a big one.
what? He never knows the plan.
That is a fun side thing that comes up with him. I enjoy that.
I mean, the last 3 have all he's been involved in, so I don't know.
Yeah, something's wrong there.
Mm-hmm. So you guys got through that piece. I mean, all of that actually, I think for the group, all things considered, went pretty smooth. Aside from just the Kerr going down to the wolves, and then just a little bit of damage here and there. But as far as the group meshing together for their first job, thought that went pretty well for the group.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, you guys had the dinner with Kivin at the Silver Spoon, which wasn't necessarily his, not necessarily. wasn't exactly his type of restaurant necessarily, being formerly a commoner. But afterwards, you guys met Darko in order to arrange for travel north. Um, and then there was the promise of Rowan to the innkeeper about performing that awesome ballad of your guys' exploits in the King's Forest at
I
the
hope
Magical
he's
Mermaid.
I hope he's still waiting on it.
I mean, it's only been about a month, so
Very true.
been a year for us, but only a month for that. But and Doug isn't here to talk about this, but we also had that little bit of Lilith Billet business before he left before you guys left of making a contact with one of the shopkeepers there, and
Little creep giving out teeth.
yep.
No.
Yeah.
And then you guys had your journey to Deadluck with Darko and his group, which you guys finally got to Deadluck and took the job of investigating a couple that had not returned after journeying towards in theory, journeying towards a grove in order to celebrate their wedding. And then the orc fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, I especially loved when they came back up and Rowan ran away.
He thought he saw one somewhere else, I swear.
Yeah.
He saw one on the other side and then he realized it was just a flower. But do I need to roll persuasion here?
I did enjoy the Rowan and Rith walk around.
Little R&R.
Yeah.
The R&R. Yeah.
I think I actually have that in my notes.
Yeah, you guys had the orc fight followed by the undead orcs, which I think that actually took longer than the orc fight itself. So I'm pretty sure that Rith hit one 2 or 3 times and it just would not
It would not die. Yeah. No, I was stuck on that one. Yeah. Just it would not die, would not go down. Rith's had that problem with undead.
I was gonna say, was it the Rith thing where he goes over and they both swing at each other and nobody hits each
that
other?
that was later. That was the mystery job.
Oh.
Yeah.
That was the skeleton.
Yeah.
I thought it happened like twice or something. I couldn't remember.
No, I hit the dead orc. It saved on its saving throw.
Fortitude,
Yeah. Like 3 times before the stupid thing dropped.
You just, I mean, you had it down. It's just, I don't think you were rolling that well in your damage.
I wasn't. No, I didn't have the greater weapon focus. I think at that point yet.
Greater weapon master
or mastery.
Defeat, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which changed everything for Rith once he finally got that. But
oh yeah.
Yeah, there was Rowan investigating other things and then coming back to save the day.
Mm-hmm. Ask him, he'll tell you.
I'm pretty sure you actually did take one down like immediately right when you came back.
Yeah, I think because I ran in and used Thunder's whatever. The big burst, yeah. The wave, yeah, Thunder Wave. And it hit like 2 of them or 3 of them or something. I think I killed one doing that.
Mm-hmm. That was one of the greatest runaway comeback save people played off.
I was trying to be the hero of the story.
Well, yeah. I mean, every hero needs a story, even if you have to write yourself in it as it, right?
Absolutely.
And then you guys found the missing couple and their gruesome end.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, the luck ended up being a pretty decent stop for you guys. Not a whole lot as far as like materials or whatnot go, but
I think this is the one where they were handing out money and talking about what happened, and Rowan walked out and no one even asked. Kerr, I think, followed him, but nobody
Yeah.
even asked. Nobody cared that they walked out.
I believe that's also when Kerr offered that if he ever wanted to talk, he could.
yep, yep.
Which I don't think you've ever taken him up on.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Which I mean, as far as when you think about the age of Rowan, is not necessarily a surprise.
He's strong. He can do it himself.
Being like, was he 16? Right?
17.
17? Yeah.
Yeah.
So we know a little bit about that from our home game, right? Playing the teenager.
Let the teenage rogue lead the group.
Right. This group wants the teenage bard to talk for him sometimes.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's not doing his bard thing. Like, really don't want him to at points.
I know. I think about it and I'm just like, do you really think he has the experience for this? Sure, maybe he's charismatic, but
But just look at what character we keep allowing to talk for us.
Good old
Rith has
Lady-
talked a
Lady-
few times.
That's true. That's true.
Lady Lilith. Lady
Well,
Lilith.
I mean, even though she's not a charismatic character, if we had a social butterfly in our group, it would be her.
That's true.
Does try. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she does a pretty good job of. I think for her, it's more. She definitely wants the appearance of the group to remain positive and professional to a certain extent, and people to.
And she's a lady.
And she steals shoes.
Well, I know, but I mean, like I said, but whenever she talks to people, it's to make the group
Sure.
have a positive appearance of the group. I mean, I think Doug plays is playing the mischievous, rogue well in regard
Yeah.
to keeping a good public profile. And I think no one in the group is fooled by the fact that she has ulterior motives. So, and Kerr's been distrustful of her almost since the very beginning.
Well,
yeah.
she's
Oh,
an
yeah.
imposter. It's being controlled.
I still can't decide whether it's Rowan just believing Kerr or if he's just knows that she's fine and he's just egging it on. Like, she was really weird today, Kerr.
No, it doesn't help.
Why does that remind me of another rogue and a paladin so badly? It's so good. I mean, you get people who have a paranoia, and I know that I'm probably, for Rowan, it probably is a little bit of a jest, because he doesn't necessarily realize what he's doing, but it is, it does provide some amusement for the rest of the group, too, so.
Oh, man.
But then you guys started north towards Evening Star, and encountered the bandits on the road, that ended up threatening you guys and shooting Gwen, which
Oh yeah.
led to her dying. And you had your enthusiastic companion Malmec, the dwarf who really wanted to get in on the ruckus there. I think that one you guys had 2 people that got away from that particular group.
I think so.
Yeah.
You guys got most of them taken out, but because I believe that's where, can't remember if that's where she got her. I think Lilith got her cloak billowing there, maybe, or maybe it was somewhere else.
I think she got that in the halls.
The halls, yeah.
We got
Yeah.
we got most of our magical items, I think, in the start at least in the hall. I don't think we
There
had
were a few
anything
of them.
before that necessarily. I think we had some small things.
I think Kovac had that the shield that can change
Yeah.
expressions. Had a
Yeah, I think he got that in this fight.
Yep, I think so.
Because I remember there was a guy that was like he was fighting him and he tried to intimidate him or make a deception check and say that the shield was gonna steal his soul, and the intimidation or deception check failed horribly, and
Karma
Kovac
stole his soul.
he Shane sunged it.
I mean, I don't know what he's doing when he stabs dead bodies.
Yeah. It's an odd quirk.
It is. I mean, he just likes to make sure they're dead.
Always double tap.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, very sure there was a fight there. Going to happen anyways. But Kerr's butts up on his getting out of the cart and shape shifting into a dog to try to sneak up on him.
Oh yeah.
Triggered it a bit early.
Yeah. I do remember that.
Yeah.
Was it Rowan that tried to jump out of the wagon?
Yeah, cause everyone else did it real cool like.
Yes.
And
he
Rith jumped out real cool, and then Kovac jumped out real cool, and then I jumped out on my face. I'm gonna be honest, I'm glad I rolled low on that one just because it's funny.
It did create a memorable moment, that's for sure. I did enjoy that. But I mean, Kerr being able to heal up Gwen and save her life definitely caught you guys some good reputation points with Darko and his group. So even so much that they delayed a couple of, or they waited until you guys were ready to leave Evening Star before heading out themselves. Which after that, you guys did come into Evening Star and checked out the job board there, where you had a couple of jobs. The one that you guys accepted, and then the wonderfully hand-drawn mystery job.
I'm just kind of sad we never did that job.
I think Riss still has the piece of paper, doesn't he?
Yep.
Or did he? Yeah, he just put it in his pack.
All right,
It's just there.
It's time for R&R. Let's go back. Just the two of us.
Well, I mean, there's that haunted halls that has more levels to it. We could always go back there if we ever wanted to and explore.
Yeah, because you guys took the mystery job, ended up meeting Lady Winter, who offered
A real
you
lady.
guys
Who's
Yeah.
a real lady?
She is a real lady. That is true. But you guys met her. She offered you guys a job to head into the haunted halls and retrieve some spell components for her. At a pretty hefty payday, all things considered. I mean, she did mention that the halls were dangerous, but she was offering the money because she enjoyed helping out budding adventuring groups, and she was one in the past herself, which led to you guys meeting Eli Danforth, who accompanied you guys, who will forever be known as the Evil Bard, right?
The Evil Bard.
The Evil Bard.
Yeah. Trying to steal Rowan's place in our group.
What a jerk.
Wait, Rowan's a bard?
Fighter, actually.
Battle Bard.
I thought he was a warlock.
Yeah, I'm whatever I need to be for the group, you know?
true chameleon of classes.
Absolutely.
Try
Oh,
to get one in each.
a bard.
He
Yeah. Oh. Is that what I am? My bad.
You guys accepted the job and headed north towards the haunted halls, or northwest, I should say. That is where you guys ran into the nearly invincible skeleton that
Just
Risk
could not
hit,
take down. No.
and Risk could not hit it. But that was I guess, an interesting encounter for you guys, because you guys did. It was almost like you guys treated it like a video game, because you guys cleared almost every single path before moving forward, which was.
Well, you had Rith leading
You did. You did.
on that one. He was because they couldn't decide on which side to go, so Rith was like, "Screw it, we're just going this way." Oh, there's a door here. Okay, we'll go through this door.
You mean we weren't playing Skyrim?
Rith was.
In a way, sure. No, I mean, I felt that he probably led through just fine, because he would get to a place and go and go and go, which I'm sure was a wonderful place for Rowan to be.
Yeah.
In undead encounter after undead encounter.
Great.
It almost seemed like I was planning that kind of stuff for you.
One of my favorite parts was when Rowan charged in with his like rapier or something, and Rith goes, "Oh, he's got it," and walks away, and I'm like, "No, come back!" I can hit him, I just can't take the hits. I was a little scared in that one.
That did include the one where Rith kind of went into bloodlust mode. And ran after the one.
I so thought I was dead and gonna make a new character at that point. I really did.
Ran after the white, and
we've got a club going then.
And I found that secret door. That was what kicked me. It's like I have no idea where this guy's gone. I'm not gonna find it. I know I'm not gonna find it, but I'm gonna chase after him. I rolled high.
Yeah, you did. I was not anticipating Rith finding it, but I'm like, okay, if he wants to go by himself. And then I know Kerr ended up following just to make sure. And I know that the first round of actual combat in there did not go very well for Rith, considering he'd already taken a little bit of damage.
Yeah, that Minotaur I think it messed me up a little bit.
The Minotaur skeleton, yeah, because I think it ran and can't remember if it gorged you or somebody else.
It was scared and it ran over him.
That's right. That's right.
I scared the undead.
I'm pretty sure it took out one of its companions too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So it ran right by Rith and one of the skeletons and crushed it. And
that was my other favorite part of In the Halls, is that move got like 50 damage on that thing, because I damaged it, and then Attack of Opportunities, as it went past everyone, damaged it.
Yeah. It kind of I don't know if it helped change the course of that particular battle, so that way it would be a lot easier to take out, because everybody got a free swing in on it. So, and then you guys managed to, or Kerr, I believe, managed to broker a ceasefire between the White and Rith and the other skeletons that were in there, and managed to just leave it alone.
Is that what I did? I'm pretty sure I just brought Rith back and ran.
Oh, you brought him back and he spoke to you, and you were like, "Yeah, we're good. We'll leave."
Yeah, because it just wanted you to leave it alone. Like, that's all it wanted, to be left alone. Because it just watched you take out. Well, it felt you take out the rest of the group that was in that first area you guys traveled through with all the halls and the rooms, and then the prison area. And then you took out everything that was in that main hall area, and it was kind of like, oh shit, I have like 3 skeletons left and me. This is bad. So if the entire group had gone in there, it would have been game over for it. But everybody else was just like, yeah, we just want to keep going. I think Eli was one of the few that told everybody, like, maybe we should get your friend. And Kovacs was like, nah, he's fine.
Yeah.
I don't remember what Rowan did for that one. Can't remember.
I stayed with the Kovac and Lilith.
And Eli.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, then you guys met the Neogi with its kobold cohort that it had.
Master Neogi.
Yep.
When she got mind controlled in that moment.
Has been ever since.
Yep.
Who got mind controlled?
Lilith did.
Lilith from the Yogi? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you guys knew it had, like, telepathic abilities, right? Or whatever happened. Yeah.
No, it was just from Kerr's point of view.
Right.
Yeah.
She's been different ever since that point.
Well, what was it? You walked in and the only thing that was said or whatever when he walked in was, like she bowed and said like, yes, master,
call it
or
master,
something
yeah.
like that. So that's all he saw from the interaction with the Neogi.
That's true.
And with few exceptions, I've just been recording everything we learn about monsters in my notes from his point of view. So that is in there, that they are capable of that.
I'm sure Baron occurs, expanded tome on monsters and their abilities will be coming to bookshelves everywhere across Cormire eventually. His exhaustive notes from you guys' travels through this area.
They'll probably put it in the fiction section though, right?
A breakthrough knowledge on things like the Shang Tsuns and stormworms.
He's not gonna learn anything about monsters with this group.
And giant 6-legged lizards that terrify people that you guys
Yep.
never found either. And his non-verbal communication book.
Oh, yeah. The military hand signals I'm learning from Lilith.
Uh-huh. Fight, go, stay,
Yeah.
So
I think that's the best insight check in the entire campaign thus far. Is that one.
it was pretty good. So then you guys ended up leaving Evening Star after fulfilling your job there, incurring some favor from Lady Winter as well, or at least for completing her job so well. And then you set out for Arabelle with Darko and his group, which took 2 days instead of the day and a half that it could have. For some odd reason.
He's very strange.
It is very strange.
Forgot all about that.
Was that where he got all the apples for the horses?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He got he found the place that did the pies, and he just bought apples.
Yeah.
And bribed the horses.
Yep. Take it slow. And then Kerr had to convince one that it was overacting.
That's right.
Silly horse.
Hey, you know what? Their deception checks are not very good.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm surprised that the one did as well as it did. But you had the arrival in Arabelle, getting settled at the East Watch Inn, which is at the north end of the city. Strange enough.
It's weird.
Who knows why? Yeah. You guys went, or Lilith went into town, or went to the post office that day. To...
You're welcome for that.
It's on the map now. It's canon. I don't care what Forgotten Realms has on their.
It
their
makes
page or not.
sense.
It's the post office. I know Lilith found out about the Adventurers Charter, and she was the first one to meet Shelby. I think until later that day, I'm pretty sure that Kerr and Rowan also went to the post office.
Yeah.
And met Shelby. And looked at the jobs that you guys had there. So, which led to you guys taking the first job eventually of investigating the recent disappearance of 3 young women who came from noble families, which also led to Rowan's meeting and eventual pact with the Raven Queen.
Yeah, no. Well, that was before, because I talked everyone into this mission because I assumed it was the one she told me to do.
So I think it was as you were coming into town, or when you guys, I think it was your first night at Eastwatch.
Mm-hmm.
So
she said something about finding a girl in the shadows or something, and and then there was the mission of missing, the girl's gone missing, and I was like, yep, I gotta talk everyone into doing this one.
Wasn't a real hard sell for Kerr, I don't think.
Oh no, not at all.
Well, and it was pretty easy to Kovac to do it once I told him that a little birdie told me that we should do this mission.
Because it was that one, I think you guys had the goblin job up there too.
I think so.
Which I know Lilith really wanted to do.
See,
and as far as preference-wise, I believe Rith was more interested in smashing goblins than he was looking for.
He knew he would be able to kill something
Right.
at that point versus
Little
hunting
did
for
he
some.
know.
Oh yeah, I know, right?
and that's also why I brought up that some of their families were wealthy and they might have a big reward. I figured that's how I could hook Lilith. Money.
Yep, because it was $750 if you brought the bodies back, and then I think it was $1,500 if you brought the girls back alive.
Something like that, yeah.
And then, was it Rith that went with Lilith on the to talk to?
Yep.
Yeah.
Richard's family, because you guys got the secondary offer from him, where he would basically pay you double if you brought the person who was responsible back to him alive.
You know, he does not like his mind being controlled.
No, that's fair.
Neither do I.
But in between that point, you had the, I guess, the date between Rowan and Shelby.
Mm.
That kind of led to the events
Well,
of...
she had 2 dates with Rowan. He just wasn't there for the second one.
That is correct. That is correct.
How dare you send your doppelganger?
My bad.
But that particular mission, what did you guys end up thinking of that one, I guess?
Kurt's biggest takeaway was this Rith guy's going to be problematic in the future. I mean, it was something that the job needed to be done, so it had to be done. But man, when he got mind controlled,
Oh yeah.
that that initially made Kerr become very apprehensive of getting into combat even near Riz.
Well, and I believe you guys were level 4 at that point too, because you had the Greater Weapon Master.
Yep.
Because you went all out on some of your swings, which was the reason that it ended up missing.
Well, I did. Yeah, I used reckless on that one every time.
Right, but you had the -5 from the Greater Weapon Master, so your
Yeah.
I mean, your to hit was only like it was much lower at that point. So,
I mean, Lilith got mind controlled too, but she was around a corner hiding like she does most fights, so we were fine.
she got entangled.
Yeah, while she was around the corner, couldn't see anyone.
Yeah. Because I think she fired it. I can't remember if she fired at Kovac or.
I think she did once.
Yeah, because that's why her did the entangle.
Yeah.
He knew that she was mind controlled at that point.
That poor guy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that poor guy.
I thought that 60-some hit points would go a little further.
I hit hard when I hit.
I think you critted on him too.
Yeah, I think so.
And then I did Burning Hands or whatever, and then I think Kovac burned him with something.
Kovac, you hit him with Burning Hands, and then Rith afterwards critted on him.
Yeah.
Because I think Rith might have been in the path of Burning Hands, or he got hit by something, which caused him to make the save.
I think we may have hit him at that point.
Yeah. I said I think you may have included him in your Burning Hands.
Yeah.
But yeah, it went from like 62 hit points to 63 hit points of damage in a round. And I was like, wow, okay. So I had to look at the spell of Charm, and I'm like, does Charm last? Yeah, it does. Okay, so individuals might still be charmed, except for, I mean, Lilith was the only one, and then she managed to save, but...
Is charm concentration? Or is it just it's
No.
on until... So what was I done last time then? Was it a charm? Or was it something different?
For which one?
The last battle? Because I was...
Oh, in the woods?
Yeah. Because you said when she left, it just...
Enemies abound.
Oh, okay. So that was a different
That one is concentration. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. No, charm is just a straight hour.
Gotcha.
So, and like I said, it doesn't work like everybody necessarily thinks where this person is now like your best friend and they'll do anything you want. It's just they treat you as a friendly acquaintance. And you know, I mean, if someone's attacking your new friendly acquaintance, and you're like probably not going to be okay with that. But yeah, that fight was a lot shorter than I anticipated. Like, Rebecca was supposed to have a bigger impact in that fight, but it went south like immediately, and so she was gone afterwards, or at least she didn't involve herself.
Probably smart.
Oh yeah, no, she was not stupid.
Yeah, there's two things that Rowan took away from this mission, and one is the Raven Queen is really helpful. She said, "Look to the shadows." I didn't realize she was being like she actually meant look to the shadows. The other thing was fuck Rebecca.
That perception check, I did not anticipate a natural 20 on it.
Oh, that was like the highest. Like, well, okay, twice now I've had really high. Insight checks, and neither of them worked, and I'm sad.
Yeah, because I think you insight check with Rebecca as well and rolled really high. And,
yeah, Rebecca, and then the last session.
Yeah.
Yeah. incited both of them, and then, well, I'll bring that up when we get there.
Yeah. But yeah, there was supposed to be more investigation to that particular one, but I mean, Rowan got on the trail right away. I was anticipating it being like a 2 or 3 night thing. But then as soon as you guys found the trail, that's part of the reason that Shelby got charmed when she did, is because you guys got on the trail right away. And you kind of forced him to move a little quicker than he wanted to. So, but,
You know, I think I still have the horny stone.
oh yeah,
I don't know what it's really called, but that was the feeling you kind of explained that it gave me when I touched it.
You guys took quite a bit of stuff from the.
Because I have the box and the stone.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys had you guys took quite a bit of stuff away from there. Because
Yeah.
Kovac took a collection of literature, as well as the guy's journal, which I had a lot of fun writing. Let me tell you.
Not only do you get to write the game, you also get to write the journal.
That's right. Well, I like to have those things for you guys, like the manifests or the that you found in the bandits, or we'll go eventually. But yeah, I like to have those physical pieces so you guys can read it and decide what do you want to share. So, but yeah, there was the killing of the guy that you assume his name was Palin. I don't think you guys ever really there was talk at one point of you guys going to look for his house that you ended up finding, because it was Rith and Kovac with your guys' amazing perception checks there too.
Yeah.
But then there was talk of going back and like breaking in, and that just fell off the radar entirely because you guys got another job and more money and just.
I'm pretty sure we actually have the key to his house. We just don't know it. Because Lilith took a key from him, I think.
She did.
Whether it goes to the house, I have no idea. But
Right. Yeah. She had a key from there. But yeah,
Well, I think we told the guards where it was at the end, and that's why we never went back.
I think you passed the information. You passed the information on to Lord Hiltred.
Yeah.
And he with his resources ended up finding out who it was precisely and said he would take care of it. But I think Lilith had wanted to
try to break in, yeah, but I don't.
Yep.
Yeah.
But then I think you guys ended up. I know you guys took the goblin job afterwards. But before that point, you guys had the the pit for Rith.
Yeah, I enjoyed that a lot. I thought it was a lot of fun to explore that aspect of his character.
It's still there for future use, and
Oh yeah, he plans to use it on the next session or two, for sure.
What?
He's got some pent up rage that needs to come out somehow. So somebody's gonna take the brunt of that.
Yep. Well, he made a good friend Tom Tack too.
Yep.
For the fight, and I think and then we went back the following night and fought the halfling, I believe.
I'll say I think I went with him the second time.
Yeah. Because he fought a halfling that second time, which was actually a pretty close fight, I think, for both of you.
Yeah.
So
Rith is my friend, and I want to support him in all that he does.
I thought it was fun. The choking out the first on the first match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I said I ended up I had all of those NPCs rolled out with just basic stats that I would need for a fight, and then ended up actually rolling for each and every single one just to see how they would go. And I think I did the same thing in our home campaign when you guys organized a fight ring to make a distraction, which like I said, it makes it interesting because then there always ends up being a fight or two, or based off of the stats that you have there, you're like, oh, this person should steamroll this person, and somehow they end up losing because the dice favored the other one a little bit more, or they get a crit or something, and you know, embracing a little bit of the whole MMA thing into it.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed that too. That was fun. I like having that.
Next time it's Rith versus Rowan in the pit.
Bring it.
Dies in one hit.
I don't know. I think he'd last a little bit.
We can.
I mean, he can only do so much damage with his fists.
We can bet against me.
There you go. Rig it.
I don't know. Would Rith lose intentionally? I don't think he could.
No. He's all about the fight. If it's a good fight, it's good.
Right.
I'd hit him and I'd be like, okay, this is where you go down. Punch. And then he rages and just kills me.
Yeah. I mean, you as a bard fighting in a physical punching match against a barbarian just would not be good for you. Especially with the rage. I mean, even if we just did straight up dice per dice, I mean, the barbarian's only taking half damage.
Mm-hmm. It does make pit fighting, or like just, it makes street fighting interesting. Start adding that in, like barbarians and whatnot, because the only people that could potentially rival them would be like a monk.
Yeah.
You know what?
They just get to do more damage, and they have things like, you know, stunning fist if they can get that off, or flurry of blows. But
I could actually go into the pit and fight anyone but Rith, and I win. Because you can't hit me when you roll.
That's true.
That is true.
Rith can hit me.
There's no problem hitting you. It's demonstrated repeatedly.
How do you feel about that as being like the one person that's hit me multiple times in this campaign?
No. I honestly thought in that one cave that we were at, that was going to be a TPK moment. I really did. I mean, that second mind control was brutal.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, from Risk's perspective, it's going to open up some character growth that he's going to focus in on later on, which will be pretty cool from that story point. I'm taking him slightly in a different path than I was originally going, just because of some past, or because of the adventures that he's had so far. So,
and that's good. I mean, I like that concept of the character growth. I mean, that's,
yeah. Like I kind of been doing the same thing, because when we started this, I had an idea of where I wanted to go with him, right? But everything that's happened has just completely changed that. And I'm like, okay, what would he do in this moment?
Yeah.
What would he do here? And that's even come up to like leveling up and deciding to take the level in Warlock.
Well, yeah, I mean, Rith has a moment here coming up too. Maybe not anytime soon, but he'll be starting on that path. But he'll be multi-classing later on.
Yeah.
Because of these past experiences as well, and growing just as a character. And it's not something I originally had planned on, from my character design originally. So I love that type of model, though. I mean, I always try to create a character with certain goals in mind, and where I would like to take them. And then, you know, I don't really flush them out beyond maybe a level or two above where we're going. And then I let the campaign kind of drive him where he goes.
Good policy.
Yeah, I figure it makes for better character growth, and better stories. Because, I mean, in all honesty, yeah, you can make the most optimal character every time if you really want to, but is it really what the character would have done?
Right.
So,
Yeah, that was a big change coming from 3.5 to 5th edition
yeah.
because 3.5 had so many like prestige class options. You could really make an optimal character that could, if you wanted to do one thing really, really well, you could do that. Not to say you can't do that in 5th edition. I mean, you certainly can if you want to combine things, but I think having that natural progression and letting the influences of the campaign and what your character goes through and people that they interact with, it's what makes for an interesting story, a memorable one at least.
Yeah.
No, that I
Well, and
play.
go
Sorry.
ahead.
No, after you.
From my perspective, like I'm normally the wizard or the rogue. Those are the bigger classes that I play with ranger. So the barbarian isn't something a class for me that I've played a lot. So it's been a fun journey to learn. And throwing in that common broken common has been very interesting and challenging from a role playing standpoint on my side too. Trying to pick the words that I want to say, and then slowly adding in those words that you should have in there here and there to try and learn as he goes as a character growth. That's been a fun aspect of the character I've enjoyed a lot too.
It's like he's always casting the spell sending. So he has to
Yeah.
pick out 25 words that he can say to get his point across.
Right. Well, and I mean, it's only been a month since he's been practicing. It's been a year for us, well over a year, and I have to keep reminding myself of that. It's like, well, we've only had a month of gameplay, so I can't talk quite like I want to yet, and so I have to continually try to remember where I left off with him in regards to his progression of the language.
Kind of on what you said. Like I've never played. Bard is full caster, right?
Yeah.
I've never played full caster. Like I always actually majority is like ranger. It's probably my favorite class for whatever reason. But I always liked playing it. And then I've played like a rogue a couple times, and that's about it. And I was just like, I'm gonna play a bard.
Yeah, this is one of the first classes that I've played that has not done something with spellcasting.
Yeah.
I mean, even the rogue I have at our home game has one level of wizard or 2 levels now of wizard.
Yeah.
In them, but yeah.
What were you originally going to say there for Kerr?
Oh, to be honest, it obviously wasn't important because it just kind of left.
Oh, okay. I like those moments. That's good. I like that.
So I guess while we're on it, not to shift directions or whatever, but
Fine.
what inspired your guys' characters? Like why why did you want to play the characters that you're playing? What inspired you for them?
Kevin tricked me into being the DM.
That is true. I remember that. You told me, "Hey, do you want to play some D&D?" Sure. Do you want a DM? Oh.
But he told me because Noctar DMs a lot there, and he's like, I'd really like him to be able to play. And I was like, I can understand that. And
Yeah.
I mean, having a second campaign is not terrible, but
Yeah, see,
that's what inspired me to play the DM.
the first conversation went like this. Hey man, I kind of want to stream some games. And then this was Noctar, and he's like, I've kind of thought about it or something like that to that extent. And I was like, I bet we could get a group together and play. I bet I can get someone else to DM too. So you can actually play. And then the conversation went with you. Hey.
How would you feel like doing an online game, only D&D? We could stream it. Oh, that sounds fun.
I really do appreciate it a
No,
lot.
It's been fun. I enjoy it. It's given me the opportunity to kind of build a story of my own. I mean, our home game was my first foray into DMing, which learned the importance of the session zero from that because
Yeah.
yeah, and using I mean we were using the Tyranny of Dragons campaign books, and I figured out that campaign books are only good if you actually have groups that are like philanthropists or want to do good. If you have the mercenary, we kill for gold type of parties, those books don't really work because you put them in situations and you're like, the book says you should just want to do this because you're good people. And they're like, yeah, about that money. Like, so, I mean, I went off the book a lot with that series. I'm very little of what we do right now is actually in those campaign books, but it, like I said, it gave me the opportunity to really flesh something out of my own, and I've enjoyed doing this thus far. So
Yeah.
hasn't been an imposition or anything like that, and I've enjoyed watching the characters do things and learning some of the virtual tabletop ones. Even with some of the pains with map tools to start with, it wasn't the easiest or the most user friendly, and I'm definitely not good with code. So Foundry's been nice. I've enjoyed it. But yeah, I guess you other guys, what inspired you to do your games?
I don't really know, to be honest. I made up my mind I was gonna play a bard, and then I was just like, all right. And then as far as like his backstory goes, writing it kind of went. I wrote my part up until I met Kerr. Then he sent me a little thing that said, "Hey, what do you think about this being how we met?" And I said, "I like it." So I copied it. But I changed it a little bit. I changed it to write it from Rowan's perspective. And then I sent it. But I mean, I don't know. It was just, yeah, like what came to my mind, what happened, and then.
I was gonna say you said that, I mean your process that you kind of went through was you had like an idea and then just started making questions for yourself, didn't you? Like, didn't you start questioning how, or how? What if this happened? What if that happened?
A little bit, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like the meeting for Kerr and Rowan, which we've told the story on stream, but for Kerr it went something along the lines of, "Hey, this guy was nice. He helped me out. He's my friend." And then for Rowan's perspective, it just kind of went like, the reason I helped him is because these people were being loud during my set. So I got rid of them because they were ruining my show. And then Kerr helped me the next morning, and I thought, hey, he's big and strong, and I could use that. And then it slowly turned into friendship. And now it's turned into a little more like family.
Aw, you live together and die together, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Kerr's Inception was similar. The last time I played a character, was a brief turn as a cleric, and then before that, it was like 6 years before that I'd played a druid. And I was like, I haven't played that in a while. But then when we rolled up our stats, and I rolled like absolute shit twice in a row, it forced the choice of Furball to even be able to pull off playing a wisdom caster. And a lot of the other creation was literally just the random rolls from the ideology and group connection stuff that's in like the base backgrounds in the player's handbook. And a lot of the stuff just came directly from that with just minor tweaks. Resulting in the drunkard, traumatized Herbolg.
A cleric, you say?
Yeah, cleric. Last time I played, I was a cleric.
Well, yeah, and that was kind of where I'm at. I'm a rogue currently, and we're about done with our current home campaign. And I'm playing a wizard there, so I didn't want to play a wizard here. So I knew I didn't want to do double casting in 2 different sessions. So I was like, well, I don't often play frontline fighters types, and yeah, so there was my barbarian choice.
With Lilith, I mean, I can't really speak for him, but he pretty much plays rogues.
This I have noticed. This is true.
Well, and some people pick up the class that they really like, and they just stick with that class, and definitely nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
For me, like the classes I don't enjoy, and it's just personal. I don't enjoy druids. I don't enjoy clerics really that much. And bards. Those are my 3 that I really don't like to play. This just not my style.
Okay.
Maybe 5th edition's different for it, and maybe I'll give it a try. But when I played 3.5, like those are the classes that I did not enjoy at all. Whenever I built up a character.
The 5th edition Bard is entirely different from 3.5 for
Yeah.
sure. Because I mean, in 3.5 it was a partial caster too, and all of those. I mean, some of the abilities and stuff that they had were really cool for like combat purposes, but it still really was that jack of all trades. Whereas I think with 5th edition, you could definitely make yourself a pretty decent caster of some sort. So
Yeah.
But I mean, like I said, I haven't had any complaints about the characters you guys have had. I've enjoyed the backstories that I got from each one of you. I know, I mean, I think you and I worked on or talked about Rith a little bit afterwards because you left a few things open. So we had some conversation about some of those pieces of backstory.
Yep.
I always like to do
useful.
that writing some because it's just like it gives, if you wanted, it gives you an opportunity to write something in for that if you choose to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think having not a heavily detailed backstory. I mean, you do want to leave certain things just kind of open for interpretation of what happened. Like, I know for Rowan's background, you have that a little bit. You just kind of told me basically generally what happened. For Rith was the same thing. Her was, I mean, events happened, but kind of left some opens there, which allowed me to use some of the Fairy or the Daemon Fae in this last encounter.
Right.
Just
Yeah,
enough.
a lot of what might have happened was not even within his sight. He saw none of it, so
Yeah, like I said, that's why I made mention of the body or the person that was there when Kerr finally turned around and went in that direction. I was like, oh, by the way, you know exactly what this guy is.
it definitely changed the plan I was like working on for that encounter.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I kind of figured. But I think I know Mike enjoys playing the mobile fighters.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of his thing.
Yeah, I know when I talked to him before the campaign, he said he was probably going to play like a fighter or a rogue. And I was just like, well, Doug really likes rogues, so you two might want to talk and figure out who's playing what. And then he's like, oh, I'll just play a fighter.
Yeah, we kind of did a custom class because we looked at some he had looked into like the Shidarkai or the Raven Queen at one point, and um, we were looking at some of the Shidarkai NPCs, and like, could we make a custom class based off of some of that stuff? And I think a lot of the template that we used was using the idea of like a Duskblade from 3.5.
Okay.
Be kind of like a combat caster, with some abilities from the Shidarkai, which kind of it almost borrows a little bit of almost like paladin-esque like traits, but they're more limited than the paladin's smites be. So I mean, he can do a fair amount of damage in like short time frame, but he has to use it kind of sparingly because it doesn't just naturally recharge. And we had to rework some of his like spell casting things so that way it wasn't as overpowered as I was when I was looking at it. I was like, this is going to get out of control real quick, and had to tone it back a little bit to just kind of make sure that the average damage based off of what you guys would be able to do, or what like a rogue would be able to do, or a paladin would be able to do, it was kind of fitting into not exceeding or not falling too low. But I mean, it's probably something that'll still remain a work in progress, honestly, because making a homebrew class is a lot of work to try to balance all that stuff out. Whether or not I'll do that in the future, probably not, because again, it is a lot of work to try to create balance for that particular class. But yeah, I know he enjoys playing the versatile or at least like mobile fighters. Like he always values his mobility, and I think a lot of that just comes from the way that he likes to do things too. Because I know he's trained with swords in real life. He has a certain way he likes to fight with those.
Yeah.
And if you ever watch him play paintball too, he is always a guy that moves.
He's always sitting behind me. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm definitely way faster.
Yeah.
I'm gonna step away for a second.
All right. That is true. Definitely are.
He's shapeshifted into a cat.
Oh my gosh, he's back. That's why he doesn't like to play them in the game.
It makes sense. It makes sense.
Ah, no.
I guess he could just be a shifter too, maybe.
So maybe he doesn't like druids because they take some of his thunder.
Yeah.
Oh no, God, he's.
Don't do that
Not
here.
in public, man.
But to kind of reciprocate one thing you said a while ago, like I really enjoy like this game. You know what I mean? Like I've enjoyed what we've done, and even just like the entire group like of people and everything that we all play together. I think that's just sure it was awkward in the beginning, but that's just getting used to playing with everyone, and then you're like, okay, now that I'm used to everyone, it's gonna make it a little easier to play this game. And
yeah, the online gameplay is definitely different. I know that when we had our home game during the whole COVID stay-at-home part, and I know Tim, you weren't able to necessarily get out as much for that just because of some health issues at home. We had to resort to using Zoom, I think, a few times, which was that was a bit of a pain because like one of the maps was just huge, for that. And I don't think I had I think I was trying to use a crawling tablet app that I had, and I can't remember what else we used, but it It was tough just because of the fact that I didn't have something like Foundry at that point. Which, if we had had Foundry back then, that wouldn't have been an issue at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had to get accustomed to the whole concept of speaking online and making sure that you allowed for someone to finish their statement before you began, and then waiting like that extra second to make sure no one else is going to talk, and then you could talk. So um, the online part is definitely different. I mean, this has worked out really well. I think though it's gotten better.
I always felt like in the beginning for us, like I always did the pause at the beginning before I said something to wait and see if anybody else was gonna talk, and then no one did. And then when I would start, someone else would also start, and I'm like, ah, crap. Like we both had the little pause to wait and see, and then
It's contributed to some awkward silences during our play.
Yeah, or people just forgetting what they want to say, right? I mean, I
Yeah.
know I think that's happened a few different times, honestly, because someone wanted to say something and then someone else chimes in, and I'll be like, "Did you have something?" Like, nah, I don't think so. I forgot what it was. So this it has been it's been a learning experience. Especially with just even like the Twitch overlay. I mean, that's been a growing thing too. Um, Finding a better option than map tools, moving to Foundry, finding things like Dungeon Draft, finding additional assets. Um, I would love to be able to, but man, it's juggling everything else that I'm kind of doing in there already. I don't know. It's hard to remember to shift things over or change things, and so, but uh, yeah, I have definitely enjoyed the group thus far, and I'm like I said, I'm glad you're enjoying it too. So that's the key point.
yeah.
But after you guys did the pit, um, I know you guys ended up talking to um, Shelby and the constable, I believe, about since you guys were exploring the Adventurers Charter and learning that you needed a base of operations. Eventually, you were pointed towards Iglar, that he might have a place or an option. After you guys investigated some other things, and then you undertook the job from Iglar in order to evict his current tenants, who were behind on their rent.
And this is why you don't let a 17-year-old to make decisions.
Well, and that eviction process, interesting.
Mm. Yeah.
Well, if Kerr just walked in and said, "Get out, you have till 3," and then transformed into a bear.
They were being suspicious and avoiding everything and just being problematic and uncooperative. Something had to be done.
Yeah, they were being suspicious and problematic. There was probably a reason for that, but
You know.
It was kind of funny though because Kerr went from I really don't like the idea of this. I don't want to fight them to I'm a bear in the middle of the big room. Get out now.
Right.
it was a very quick change.
Maybe from, an outside perspective, but it was 100% all bluff.
Well, I mean, when a normal person encounters someone who changes into a literal bear and is standing there ready to, I mean, most regular people are gonna go, "Okay, see you later."
Yeah.
Ooh.
But that like I said, I mean, there was a reason for that particular group. I mean, there could have been options there to explore, but you guys did what you had to do and ended up with a future residence, at least. The Outlanders Inn.
We could have
Or
just
whatever.
taken Palin's house and nobody would have even known.
Oh.
Pretty sure that was Lilith's original idea.
Probably. Makes sense for her to want to do that.
So I know after you guys did Iglar's Inn and evicted some people, that's when you guys accepted or decided to do the Goblin raid or war party job. What were you guys' thoughts on that whole investigation and resulting like pursuit or battle? I mean, I know we talked a little bit about the mind control thing, which we can get into a little bit, but
That was the Shang Tsung one, wasn't it?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I mean, it would have been
Oh,
cool
man.
if my friend didn't send me into my death, basically.
Ah.
I mean, you were a spider and you did this. And, and the battling, it means fight there. So you did that and I went there and this thing tried to eat my soul.
it did. And then you taunted it.
Oops.
I mean, there wasn't really an oops because you spoke it. Like you would have to I can't remember exactly what you said. Something about you'd actually have to hit me or something to that extent. And I never did. So
Oops.
I don't know if it was really taunting as much as being prophetic in that instance.
Yeah. And then
that was a fight that I was actually concerned about for you guys. Like I thought the fight itself, considering you'd gone through the initial fight of fighting the wargs in that big cavern when you got in there, as well as some goblins, and I think you guys did. There are some people that took some damage.
I don't recall this. I don't remember playing through that at all.
it's almost like you weren't there for that session.
I know, it's a little weird.
It's strange.
I don't know. I thought you did a great job.
That's right.
All I remember was at the beginning, like, I'm going to look down the hole and see what's down there. And you're like, all right, roll perception at disadvantage. And I'm like, 2 20s. What do I see?
Yeah, I think to the base of the hole was 100 feet or something. So it was like, for your dark vision, it was just at the extent of that. And I was like, well, all right, cool. That's neat.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Beargus fight was one that I anticipated going like worse as far as like the melee goes. I'm pretty sure that the goblins did more. No, I know they did more damage than the Beargus did, because I don't think the Beargus did any damage. Because you guys,
Yeah, I don't think so.
focused on Rowan for like 2 or 3 rounds, and I missed every single time by rolling like 5s and 6s. Even at advantage on the first one, I think I rolled like a 4 and a 5 or something ridiculously low.
And that was before my AC was super high.
Yeah. I think you're at like 15 at that point.
Yeah, I don't remember if I got the armor before this or not, but it was either a 17 or a 15.
Right. Yeah, I think it was 15 at that point, because I think Kerr was like 14 or 15.
See, you
Yeah,
said,
I haven't changed any.
You said the bard always goes up front. It's not my fault. There were 2 different fights where it was not my fault to be up front.
I don't remember how far back Rith was in that one. I think were you behind Rowan then?
I was further behind.
Yeah, because Kovac
Well,
was
'cause-
all the way in the back, out of
Yeah.
the light, and I think you were either with Lilith, because I think that's when she had the moon touch dagger.
Yep.
I think I was trying to stay out of the light in the front on this one. I don't remember if
Yep.
that was this
I believe
battle
that
or
was
not.
correct.
And then the spider
Because-
sent me in.
Because Kerr had dark vision.
Get really tired of chasing my light source.
But dark vision's not really worth it, remember?
No, it's not. Not in the slightest.
The one time he cast it, and he tried to do perception checks and did you rolled low single digit. It
Yeah.
was terrible. You're like, this is awful.
Yeah, and then
I do like that you're playing it that way, and like you haven't cast it Dark Vision again.
I don't even bother to prepare it.
Yeah.
And then
This was a useless spell.
this is where Rith downs half the party.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a very, and like I said, and I know I talked to Tim about this too when we were talking about this.
Funny.
I said, it's not that I intentionally put things out there that are going to charm. Like for the Beargus, when I was thinking about jobs, I was looking at like challenge rating monsters that were at your guys' level or close to, and just thinking, what can I do to build around it? And then I thought of the Beargist, and I was like, that would be good because they can kind of turn into a warg or, goblin-ish type thing. So I'll use it. And then, of course, using goblins along with it just made sense. And, this thing was basically looking for strong souls to eat.
And it chose Rowan.
Oh, it was looking for adventurers to come. And, I mean, that was the entire purpose of the Goblins raiding, was for someone to come searching for it. And then the Goblins would, weaken it up, or the Wargs would weaken it up, and then they would get to it, and it would eat them. And then, it attacked Rowan. And then it charmed Rith. And,
And I could not roll to be uncharmed for the life of the party.
but
Oh,
you could
man.
hit the party.
But I could down the party.
You could roll to hit.
Yeah, didn't we get brought back up and then we downed you to finally finish it off or something?
No, I was at 5.
Oh,
I was
okay.
at 5 hit points
Oh,
before.
yeah, we got close.
Yeah. I almost dropped.
He dropped Kerr, he dropped Rowan, and then he got into a fight with Kovac.
And almost dropped him down.
Yeah, and Kovac was just dumping everything he could into him, even some of his special abilities. Just attempting to drop him so he would stop hitting everybody else. And that took 2 or 3 rounds.
And what was Lilith doing this entire
and Lilith kept
Hiding around the corner.
Yeah.
Oh,
just
my
hiding.
gosh.
And she cast Tasha's Hideous Laughter one time. I can't remember what other spell she cast, but it wasn't like, all she had to do was like take a shot at the Beargist, and it was gonna drop like not too long after. Like it didn't. You guys have been hitting it a few times, because I think you did hit it with Burning Hands, Rowan.
Yeah.
And because Kerr was on its back or something at that point. It's this.
Yep.
And got caught in the blaze, and then Rith turned. Well, that was after Rith completely destroyed a goblin with a crit.
Yeah.
There was nothing left of that goblin, and that's what led the Beargus to go, oh, I don't want to get hit by him, but I'd like him to hit other things. So, yeah, like I said, it's whenever I've used charm or anything like that, it generally is because it's either witnessed, like my enemies have witnessed something, or they were told something, like Lilith talking to the latest person, making Rith sound like he wasn't. So,
Which, is correct but not correct. I mean,
Right.
Rith is actually fairly intelligent.
Yeah, he's above average.
Yeah.
It's just the
He's-
way that she said stuff, the way that
Yeah, I
Lilith
know.
said things was like he's a dragonborn of few words, and it's like, oh, okay, so easy to manipulate. Got it. So I mean that's what led to the spell being cast on Rith and as opposed to anybody else. I try not to use my knowledge of your guys' characters.
Oh, no, sure.
Right, no, but it makes 100% sense that they would like want Rith on their side.
Yep. At least not hitting them.
Yeah.
That's the key component in most of those fights is I don't want this guy hitting me.
I'm just grateful that the woman left last time and on that last fight because
Ooh.
I was full hit points straight up.
Yep, and Kovac was not in good shape.
Yeah, if he would have dropped down, I mean, it could have been bad.
And I couldn't help because I was paralyzed.
Yep. Well, and I mean, Kerr would have gone ballistic on that one person, not even realizing it at first that I wasn't, you know.
On my side. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even paying attention to that if the Fairy was still up. I mean,
Well, yeah, because
I
if
don't know
if
that-
you had gone to hit that thing while I was hitting the other people, you wouldn't have even paid attention to that. You would have just been kept.
Nope.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it would have been down to, Rowan and Lilith trying to take Rith on.
that wouldn't have been good.
No,
I could do it.
I mean,
you
Rowan
guys
would probably
could.
Rowan would probably be the best one because do you have counter song yet?
I don't think so.
I thought the bard gets an ability where they can allow them to make like a save or something against charm effect, but maybe I'm thinking at 3.5. I don't know.
No, I think I get it. I just don't think I've got it yet.
Okay, maybe it's a 6th level ability, I think. But yeah, I mean that was an interesting fight to say the least. Because I thought it was going to be harder than it was, but then the goblins ended up doing more damage because I think 2 of them critted.
Yeah.
One was on Kerr.
Yeah.
And then one was on Kovac.
See, that was part of the problem too. Is Rith turned and there were still a couple goblins left.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the 3 of us are getting hit by the 3 of them, and Lilith is hiding around the corner when she could have taken some shots from them to help us a little bit.
At them.
Yeah, to help us in one way or the other, and no.
Yeah. There's been some interesting Lilith moments where, it has not been lost on the party. I know that. Where's the rogue?
Yeah.
So you guys managed to, in that job, I know you managed to recover 3 of the 4 missing people.
Yeah, I didn't have the heart to tell the family that the grandfather or whatever it was probably eaten by the bear guest. That's just what I assumed happened. No idea, but
Potentially. I mean, there was a blood trail and nothing for that guy, so.
right, and then we knew at the point that like what the creature was, so whether that happened or not, that's just what was in Rowan's mind, and he's like, I'm not gonna tell them that's probably what happened. I'll just let him. Because I think we told him he's not there anymore or something like that.
Yeah. So I mean that was a I can't remember who dealt with the little girl. It was
Kerr.
her, I thought.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, Kurt
Because
talked to.
didn't you turn into an animal or something too? You just
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I think Lilith scared them first, and then Kerr talked to them.
Well,
And
the one was not talking at all. She was unresponsive.
This is also where we gave Kerr the sending stones.
yeah, I was just thinking about that.
That don't work as well.
It doesn't work.
all of this magical stuff and spells from Kerr's perspective is amazing. It's great. Like, what is the purpose of this? I send a message and then I can't talk to you anymore. Like, it doesn't work. Broken.
Except he thinks it's like a walkie-talkie and he can talk multiple times.
Yep.
Yep.
Does he still have it, or does it go? Does Rowan have it?
No.
No, yeah,
Rowan.
I took it back because later I was like, remember that rock I gave you?
And I'm pretty sure Kerr said, "Yeah, the one that doesn't work."
Yeah.
That was a great development for that particular item.
Yeah.
Then after you finished that job, you guys ended up having dinner with Iglar, where he offered you the home, basically, for a set dollar amount or a set gold piece amount for 3 months, since he was going to look at expanding it. And
At Kerr's encouragement.
Yep. That was, I mean, that wasn't something I'd necessarily
And
thought about.
we also asked him for sponsorship
Yes.
from
Yep.
that was Kerr's idea.
Which led to him talking to Lord Hiltred again in regards to, finding some way to do that, because there was a lack of trust, I guess you could say, or a lack of confidence would be a better word. Since the job that, or the request that Lord Hiltred had put out to you guys weren't able to accomplish, regardless of whether or not Iglar agreed to it. It was still an issue that was left unsettled. But then they later came back to you with the bandit job, which they offered a pretty decent sum of money to perform, as well as an option to, reestablish that confidence. So
we almost tried to bring back the entire group we fought.
Yeah, we did.
yeah, how did you guys? What was your guys' ideas on that, or thoughts on that particular job? Since I know it was another interesting development. I mean, as far as the whole bandit, like getting in after the initial bandit group, because I don't think the initial bandit fight was all that tough necessarily.
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't expect the second bandit fight. I thought that this was it.
Mm-hmm.
Going into this fight, I was like, okay, well, that's cool. We got the leader now, because that was the one guy that was doing all the talking. And I'm like, all right, we're gonna go. But then there were more.
Yeah.
No, I enjoyed it. I'm a huge fan, personally, of multiple challenges occurring during a given day.
Multiple encounters and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, bam, I used all my spells on the first one because I know there's not going to be another one. Because that's usually how it goes. But when you're doing these things like this, and there's a consistency of multiple, then it makes you have to think, how many times do I rage on this one? If I lose a rage, do I heal up here because I know there's potentially more. So I'm a huge fan of that personally. I like that give and take of the possibility of multiple encounters in one session, in one day, challenging the player themselves and the character that you've built.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. It's just it was unexpected for me. Like I was like, uh-oh.
Wasn't that sorry. Wasn't that when Rowan almost died and Riss and Kerr exploded on everybody?
Yep.
Yeah.
All Red saw was Rowan go down, and he was just right in and did not stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was the black dragonborn.
Yep.
Who called himself Baradad the
I
Destroyer, I think.
I can only
was.
be hit by Dragonborn.
That's right. Don't forget it.
I think he was Baradad the Destroyer or something like that. And yeah, he charged for Rowan kind of got like halfway so he could be like useful to everybody as Rith is running up.
No, this was Lilith's fault. She did
Yeah.
some motions back to
Yes.
Kovac, and she pointed.
Right. Yep.
And I was like, so Rowan said, "Oh, she means go." That's
Yep.
the second time I was sent up to the front of the battle. I mean, me as a player, I knew he wasn't sending me, but Rowan wouldn't know any different.
Yep. Yep, because that was where, like I said, Kerr transformed into a spider again, a small one this time, but kind of scouted out almost the entirety of the camp, and then through some amazing stealth and lack of good perception checks, climbed up onto the
like caressed her cheek.
yeah, got all the way up onto her shoulder and like touched her, and then she spotted him and he dropped the wild shape while basically on her shoulder, dealing some pretty terrible damage to her. But yeah, so because the black dragonborn that came down and was running right towards Rith because he wanted a good fight. I think he critted on you as you ran by.
Yep, one hit.
Yep.
Bam, out down. I thought I was okay, but I forgot I had taken damage in the other fight.
I think I did one more than your hit points.
Yeah, it was really close.
Yeah, I think I did like 23 and you had 22 or 21 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was another fight that when I saw how quickly Rowan went down, and then I think Kerr almost dropped or got hurt.
I think I was pretty close.
Yeah. And then that left Rith all the way up front by himself for a while because Kovac took a while to get up front. And Lilith did as well. But I think Rith almost took 2 full rounds of 3 or 4 people attacking him.
Yeah.
And I think you were pretty darn close, except for I think Kerr ended up doing some healing on you during that. As well,
Which is like a double duty on the healing when I'm raging. So yeah.
Yeah, the raging is basically what kept Rith going.
I think I may have given him one too, like whenever I got back up. But I don't remember.
Yeah, I think you walked up and actually did a cure wounds on him, which is what let him know that you were still alive.
I'm alive, buddy.
Because Kerr did a healing word on you.
Yeah.
And that's also when I think you bust out the first time you bust out Call Lightning too.
Yep.
Which actually helped turn the battle quite a bit because there was that half ogre, the Ogrerillion that you hit with it. That I think you actually hit 2 of them, and
yeah, I was kept trying to place it in spots where I get multiple targets.
Yeah, that worked out really, really well. Kind of it helped change the course of the battle. So that was another battle that I thought was going to go badly, and then once you guys got into the full swing of things, it started to change real quick, especially since everything kept coming to Rith. Considering almost everybody in there was a melee fight, except for the one archer that was really far back that kept shooting him with arrows.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure is great to Rith. I'm sure he enjoys archers so much.
Yeah, there's like 2 things that Rowan left this fight, like character-wise, I guess, because one was Rith. After this fight, like Rith is definitely moving more towards like family feeling because of the fact that he was so upset when Rowan went down. because I was alive again by the time he got mad about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I heard it, which is one reason why, like, when we got back, Rowan went to the room and was like, "Hey, thanks for that." Like the little awkward talk afterwards, because it really meant a lot to him, you know. And then the other thing was his distrust for Lilith went up a little because he had seen what was in the chests, and she tries to take something out of the chests that he had seen in.
I do remember that.
So, like,
Gems in there that she tried to say weren't in there or less of.
yeah, he understands that she wants to take things, but when you take things from the group, it's a different story. Like, I know, Kovac took the gems from the box that was for that company, but I don't know what was in that box. I never looked in it.
Yep.
I only know what was in those two chests, and those are the ones that he tries to take something from. and like, I know that Kerr wouldn't take it whenever they were transporting it, and I know Rith wouldn't take it when they were transporting it. And then another thing is, like, Rowan likes money, so you took his money.
Yeah, that is one thing for Rith is he does not really care too much about the whole material goods or
Not
money.
necessarily, no. Yeah, which is different from characters I played in the past.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, so at this particular point in time, it's more about what will help him
Mm-hmm.
either get there faster to where he needs to get to, or help him hit harder at the end of the day to drop whatever it is that's from his perspective as well, hurting his family. Like,
Mm-hmm.
he views Rowan as family, and Kovac too. He views him more family. Like those two right now. Kerr he hasn't really attached with, and Lilith he very much has not attached with at all. From that perspective. So yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, like I said, I think there are two people in the group that don't really care as much about money. Being Kerr and Rith. That's. I think for both of them, it's more of a utilitarian thing. I need it for certain things, and that's it.
Yeah.
Um, whereas Rowan is definitely interested in it. Lilith is very interested in it, and Kovac likes it just because, again, it helps him get stuff as well that he can use. But
I feel like Rowan is kind of like transitioning a little bit in my own mind because, like, I don't know, he just doing all these missions and like helping and stuff have kind of, well, the missions themselves are ripping him apart from the inside, but he does kind of feel good about helping people a little more than maybe he did at the beginning. And, like, as far as like the group, the biggest reason he wanted to stay with the group is kind of the same thing that he stayed with Kerr. Like in the very beginning, again, was because he was like, yeah, these people can keep me alive and help me get money or help me do this, you know? But then, like I said, it's kind of grown, like where Rith, he kind of feels like that family type bond with him. He definitely feels it with Kerr. Like, he's definitely getting closer with Kovac, but I feel like they haven't really had like the big, like, I don't know, bringing him. Well, okay. The last thing we talk about here might have an effect on it. Last session might definitely have an effect on like how he feels towards him more. But yeah, Lilith is still on the outskirts.
and I guess that is one thing too. I guess because I know Kevin, you brought this up a while ago, just the disappearance missions and people being kidnapped and whatnot was really kind of tearing Rowan apart. Which is there's a part of me that like as the DM, when I'm exploring some of these adventuring missions and whatnot, it's more to that point of how would a mission, or what would it be like in the life of adventurer? Because most of the time they're being brought in because something's either gone terribly wrong, and the local law enforcement, army, patrols, whatever, is overwhelmed to the point that they can't do it, or someone needs, you know, um, which normally if someone needs something, they're going to find a group that is probably well known enough to establish themselves, which the Outlanders hasn't necessarily done as much, but um, so I've been trying to go for those more gritty, realistic type missions that would occur along the outskirts. People going missing, monsters attacking areas, killing people, goblins abducting people, things like that. What have been your guys' thoughts on just that type of mission? I mean, does it impact your guys' characters and the way that they think? I mean, I know it has Rowan.
Well, and it's not necessarily just that that's the only missions we've haven't had the options to take. It's just that's what the group has decided on most of the time. Like, this is the mission that I want to take. And I'm like, yeah, let's take that. And then I'm like, oh man, how's he gonna feel about this? You know?
They've all definitely been. I'm not appealing is not the right word. Nor is it Tyson. They've drawn Kerr in. There's something he's seen in each one that reminds him of what's happened to him, and he doesn't. Kerr hasn't yet realized that Rowan's just going along with the group for the money more than anything else. So he thinks he's just following Rowan into these misadventures.
It really hasn't impacted Rith in regards to his development necessarily for that.
He has a more brutal look on life, anyhow.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
more
he grew up
trying
in
to
the
survive.
he grew up in the streets, surviving,
Yeah.
whatnot, and he's been fighting since he's almost been born essentially.
Well, like you said, I mean, he's been raised with the strong survive
Yeah.
mentality.
So for that perspective, no. It really has the missions necessarily haven't really appealed one way or another. The more appealing ones are the ones that he knows he's gonna get to hit something and get to test himself, and that's really what it comes down to for him. Is it's a test on himself to better himself and make himself more of what he wants to be, which he doesn't fully know what he wants to be either. So
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you feel like for Kerr at all, like any of these missions where he's like kind of sees a little bit of some of the struggles that he's through? Do you think he punishes himself more because of that too, or it's just reawakens any of that stuff that he's had to deal with?
Yeah,
Like
it's
shut down with the alcohol.
it definitely forces him right back into it because the travels with Rowan before the group, I had figured he was being pulled out of that place, and doing this is just putting him right back to that broken state.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, each one just reminds him even more, which is why I've had Kerr's drinking increase since the start of everything. It's buying more and more, downing more and more. He's been mostly drunk for like the last 3 episodes, like completely slosh.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. I guess Rowan's kind of done a couple uncharacteristic things, even though one of them he had done before. But like, okay, in Deadluck or whatever, he walked out before getting the money.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Goblin Raid one, he literally gave away a brand new hand axe to a kid to protect their family.
protect his little sister.
Yeah, and then he also walked out of that very same house when they were talking about it. So like, I mean, he's shown signs. Just sometimes it's not visible to everyone, like because everyone, people aren't focused, on him per se. It's what's going on in front of them. So
Yeah, and the goblin job was fairly early in the workings too. I only think you guys have been together for 3 weeks at that point.
Yeah.
Honestly. Which I guess kind of led to the next mission that you guys had. I mean, I know you guys had the name discussion after that point, which I think you guys figured out a name before you did the Manticore mission, because that was the first one where you officially considered yourselves the Outlanders.
Yeah, we did.
I also became really good with symbols.
Yes. Yes, you did. You understood perfectly what those shipping labels, those shipping symbols like.
Absolutely. I definitely didn't have papers on them telling me what was in them or who they were shipped from.
But I know when you guys left for them, or before you left for the Manticore mission, you closed the deal basically on getting the inn rented out, using some of the money that you got from the bandit job or the additional funds you got for covering some of the goods. I think that one was you got the mead money, which was like an additional 450 gold that you guys just towards the inn, so that way you'd have the whole 3 months covered. So yeah, if you're payment in advance.
Was it that money that did we put that money towards
450 from something.
But is that when we put the money towards the charter, or was that from the next job we did? I don't remember.
That was the Manticore.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the Manticore paid for the charter itself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because we just took that payment specifically straight, and we never even
the
divvied
Manticore
it
was
up.
like 3,000.
Oh, okay.
The Manticore was 3,000 that you guys got from.
That's right.
You guys got 1,500 from it to start with, and then they were confirming that all the stuff basically. So yeah, Manticore mission. That you guys knew there was a Manticore in the region. You had the I feel like there was one other. It was the bandit job. I think you guys accepted the Manticore job before the bandit job. Then you got proposition with the bandit job where they wanted to leave the next day because you had El Hazir.
Yeah.
Wanted the Manticore heart. So after finishing up the bandit one, you guys got the name and ended up heading north to take on what you thought was just going to be the Manticore or Stormworms.
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 And it led to some other shenanigans involving the cobbler, who pissed everybody else off in the group. You guys stole his tools for his livelihood.
I was just gonna burn down the barn that his stuff was in, but I mean, whatever.
I mean, drastic action. Something the group is really good at. So that whole concept, I guess, with Lilith beginning that process of trying to get into the barn. What were your guys' thoughts, I guess, when that occurred? I mean, just as players necessarily.
Well, originally, because it was her, Roan, and Kovac that were there.
Mm-hmm.
And then she went around and tried to get in the barn by herself at this point in time. But the thing was, Kovac and I also had the same feelings towards the guy, and she could have used us, but instead just ran away and tried to do it herself. So I was like, what the heck? Because I think that the two of us would have been willing to help with something. but Lilith does Lilith things.
Yeah, from Ritz's perspective, I mean, when she pulled out the shoes later on, like I don't know, he kind of felt like it was, what is she doing? What does she do? Um, and especially during like the battles or even during some of the other missions, like she really hasn't shown to him to be necessarily beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's some of his hesitation in regards to bonding with her. Like he was bonded. He's bonded with Rowan. Kovac is an individual that he knows he can rely on. Kerr was an individual that he knew he could rely on, and quite honestly, was in that getting close to that family circle with him. Um, you know the and up till the fact where they cross the river and then he leaves, like that's gonna have you know huge impact on Rith going forward.
As a player, I don't understand what was so hard about getting information and then getting revenge from the guy. I don't get it. But for Curry, it was the getting Lilith into the barn. It was just one of those. I'm either going to have to trust her at some point or I'm just going to have to do something about her. And I decided to go with trust her. And since Kerr has had those playful little moments where he's done like minor pranks, it turned out kind of okay because it was the dumbest possible revenge you could get.
Sure. Well, and I didn't. I understood why she did it. I mean, and I have put some jerks out there as NPCs just because.
Oh,
I mean,
it's the way it's gonna be in real life too. So
yeah, you're gonna come across some people that are just bad.
Yep.
So, and I've enjoyed seeing what's happened with some of those people. It's been amusing, to say the
I
least.
still don't know why she didn't keep the magic boots though.
Right.
They were pretty good. That was that was interesting because I don't think she beat your deception check, the insight. I think she failed it by a couple.
No, and I'm pretty sure I even rolled a 1 and still outdid her.
Yeah, yeah. She rolled like a 3 or something. It was two very bad rolls.
Yeah.
So, but that led to the Chimera fight eventually, or well, first it led to you guys going to talk to Rangers.
Right.
And Kerr learning of another Furbolg passing through the area. Which I don't know what impact that would have necessarily had on him. It seemed like he was interested.
It made him curious, but he knew he had something that needed to be done and couldn't really focus on it any further than he could. And it kind of had to drop there for him, like it wasn't going to go anywhere else.
But you did get a map out of the information gathering, which I think was
Her and Rith.
and Rith, that information, and then the other one was Lilith and Rowan Kovac.
Mm-hmm.
So once again, Rith and Kerr involved in it goes amazingly well. While the other mouthpiece for the party don't get a whole lot of information that's helpful. Which again, it led to you guys venturing into the woods and going off the beaten path for a period of time.
Yeah.
And eventually kind of taking the wrong path, because there were 3 different paths you guys could have gone. The Chimera battle. So I know that probably didn't end up being as hard as I probably would have been.
No, but it screwed us a little bit because Kerr was just like, "Here's all my spells to fight the Manticore,"
Yep.
and it's not a Manticore.
Yep.
Yo.
I was spent.
That's the benefit of the barbarian. You just have one ability to hang on to, and that's rage. You know?
No.
I always have Old Faithful in the Eldritch Blast.
Yep. The cantrips are nice. So you guys had the Chimera battle, which again didn't probably last as long as it could have. I mean, I know you guys took some damage, so you ended up with some healing spells, fire breath that it had. I think that was also another instance.
You cut out a bit there.
Oh, I think that was another instance of me trying to hit Rowan with physical attacks that did absolutely nothing. And
sorry.
You know, I've gotten used to it.
It'll happen eventually.
Yeah, I liked that one because you had more than just the Manticore in there for us to deal with.
When you got to the cave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In that fight, I just sat at the corner so I could watch either fight. Which one do I need to help on?
Yeah, because I think it started off then you guys got to the actual cave where you fought the hill giant and the Manticore. Pretty sure that the hill giant one started off poorly for us because you didn't get the rage right away.
Yeah, I got hit pretty hard with that before I raged, and then and once I raged, it was fine.
Yes. Yep. I mean, it kind of just demonstrated Rith in a one-on-one fight with a lot of stuff. If they're melee based, is just
he had Lilith watching his back.
Literally just watching.
Yes, another thing. Another reason why Rith has problems.
Right?
Yeah,
like right near the end.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure I rolled on the Manticore. It threw some spikes at
Kovac.
Was it Kovac only?
When it flew over him, it threw some at him, and then it landed by Kerr.
Yep. And he had the bears.
I baned it.
Yep, which made me not hit anything at all. Yeah, so I missed on Kovac, I think, with both spines shot. I think I missed on all but one hit against one of the bears. They just ripped into it, which was, and pretty sure Kerr did a decent. Kerr did some damage too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that. Another fight that I originally thought was going to be a whole lot different.
Yeah, I thought that fight was going to be super hard, and like I felt like we went through it super fast. Because it was 2 fighting the giant, 2 fighting the Manticore, and like I'm in the middle where I can like Eldritch Blast either way that needs the help. And I was just like, I didn't want to leave that corner because that way I could see if the giant if they needed help with giant, or if they needed help with the Manticore.
I think you did more damage on the giant than Lilith did.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I hit it the first time, like with the Eldritch Blasts, and then I think I missed the Manticore with Eldritch Blast.
Yeah.
Yes.
But then I did get to bane it, and then I think I cursed it too. I think I used my Hexblade's curse on it.
I don't know. I feel like sometimes those battles that feel like they're gonna take or be a challenge, just bam, we're done. And those that don't seem like they're gonna be that challenging are like, oh, this is bad.
Yeah, I think for the Manticore and the Hill Giant one, both of those ended up just being, they probably should have been a little bit more challenging if could have rolled any better. Uh, but I think I had I think I ended up doing 7 attacks with the Manticore hit, and I mean that's pretty terrible from that regard. And then I think I can't remember how many I did against Rith, but I'm fairly certain that the Hill Giant missed on most of actual melee attacks.
Yeah, he hit. I mean, he hit right away, but then once I raged, and which is funny because you get, advantage against me. But yeah, and I mean that's one of the things that I found very interesting is even when I'm reckless attacking, like you're still missing.
Yeah, and I mean part of that is, I mean, the natural AC of a barbarian can get pretty good.
Yeah.
Then just some of the rolls are just absolutely terrible, and there's nothing I can do about that necessarily. I mean, I've
Lately for us, it's been roll super high on the skill checks, and then when we get into the fight, we're like 3, 5.
Yeah.
That's our life right now.
that has been an interesting occurrence with that piece. But I mean, I haven't been doing that much better. Because I mean, after the Giant and the Manticore, you guys made the charter official, got your charter mission, which led you to Hill March, and Lilith's interesting interaction with the constable town there. She didn't really want to hear anything he had to say.
Yeah.
Which I won't lie, there was information you missed there. Because there was more information he was willing to give out, but she tried to flex her "I'm a lady" thing. It's like, yeah, you're not. Which, for a lot of people, she says Lady Lilith, and they're like, okay, neat.
Yeah. You don't look very ladylike in, full armor and.
Well, I know she normally wears her nicer clothes sometimes, but I mean, if you're instead of Courtmire, where nobility is fairly well recognized,
Yeah.
you're not probably gonna pass as anything other than just calling yourself a witch. And if you actually are a lady, but from a foreign land, and you're adventuring or something, I mean, that means absolutely nothing to most of the NPCs in Fire. But
one thing we got from the Manticore and Giant fight is like we got a bunch of credit for El Hazir's shop.
yes.
So I mean a lot of that could definitely be helpful and and honestly,
I know that's helpful to Rith.
Well, honestly, like, because Kovac gave his up, and Rowan only used like half of what he had, and he's actually saving the rest for a time that Kovac might want something.
Is the stream freeze on your side?
No? Oh.
Okay, just making sure. Must be me.
No, but yeah, he was just like, he gave us this extra like that he might need later, so I'll save some of it for him.
Yeah, I mean, you guys ended up with, and with El Hazir's, I did end up just, I looked through and I kind of figured out some items I would want to put out there, because you guys are to the point where some magical items could certainly be either beneficial, useful, not overpowered, I guess. So,
I mean, I've used the boots and like them a lot.
Yeah, and those were, I figured that item would either Kovac would really like it, or Rith really like it, because of just the ability to get into Rith. It was just mainly getting into battle faster.
Yeah.
Because he ends up being towards the back. I wasn't really sure on the failed Flame Tongue Maul. When I rolled the actual weapon for it, because I did leave some of that random, and it rolled up as a maul. I was like, ha, the one, like the weapon that's not too bad. I mean, but it's the one weapon type that the guy who could use it has a sentimental, I mean, for all intents and purposes, a sentimental and like just attachment to
Yeah.
his current weapon. Just because this one lights on fire is not a good reason to go, oh, I won't use this one anymore.
Nope. No, I mean, yeah, and that's different too for me, at least character wise, because I've in the past, my past characters, it's like, oh, this weapon is better fundamentally than the weapon I have.
Hmm.
But from this particular character, like the when we were building them and designing them, and we went with the dual maul heads of the two different dragons, it's like, well, this has a very sentimental value to this character. And this isn't a weapon that he's willing to exchange for a different type of. Now, maybe he'll explore at some point in time enhancement of this weapon, or the development of another weapon similar to it with a different material, maybe, and then enhancing that one. I don't know yet, but
Right.
yeah, I don't see him exchanging his weapon necessarily for something that's just because it does fire damage.
Right. And that was like the funny part when I rolled it out. I was like, huh, it's amusing. Um, then the cold one, I was a bit surprised that Rowan kind of wanted that one. I mean, yes and no, because he has been up front a little bit more. But the fact that he really liked that one was, I thought if anything, he would have probably gone for something.
Well, that's
Okay.
kind of the thing that pushed him towards this one was because he has been like up close and personal with a lot lately. So he's like, well, maybe I can kill it or get rid of it quicker with this thing.
Yeah.
So,
Which made sense. And like I said, the amulet I kind of designed just for use, um, because I know that you use the beast shape quite a bit, and felt like having the additional hit points or temporary hit points for the beast shape, as well as if one additional use would certainly make a difference for him, at least make
Right.
it viable. So, but yeah, I thought those items were pretty good options to start with. I know you guys have seen other ones in there that are far more expensive, but maybe eventually you guys would be interested in. Yeah, you guys have developed a bit of a relationship with a few different actual shop owners at this point.
I like my potions, girl.
you mean Kurt? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, then you have the dwarf, Mad
Yep,
Smithy. You know,
yep, the dwarf smithy who I've gained some of a relationship with as well.
yeah, he started with that. I mean, he knows the person that you studied with is, which always a big boon when it comes to dwarf society. You know the person that creates good weapons, and you know your students.
I've gone to the Iron Hand guy a lot, but he doesn't really care about anybody. So I mean,
You never know. You know, he could be warming up to you. Just,
always acts like he's upset that I walked in. If only I knew there was another blacksmith or whatever in town.
the smoking yeoman who sounds stoned. I mean, I
I don't even know about that guy. I've never been told about him.
nope, nope.
There's three blacksmiths, aren't there, in town?
Well, that you guys have interacted with.
Yeah.
Mad, Mad Smithy, the Smoking Yeoman, and the Iron Smithy are the three that you guys have talked with. So, I mean, Arabelle's a huge city, so there's going to be more, but I kind of figured that once you guys found shop like those would probably be your go-tos for the most part, unless you absolutely different. Yeah, those are the three that you.
Spreading out a little bit on my end. I don't know.
Yeah, a little.
Sorry, but yeah, no, those are the three that you guys know of. Arabelle's a huge city, so it's got
Yeah.
a lot more options in there. It's just I kind of figured that when you guys got to that point of visiting a shop a few different times, you're probably gonna stick with that person for the most part.
Yeah, like the main reason that I went back for the shield at that guy was because he made the breastplate that I had, and I wanted the shield to be like the, you know what I mean? Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
So I was like, this guy made it, so I'm gonna go to him for this other piece that I'd like.
And then, like you said, you have the alchemy lady, potion girl. After you made the one gnome mad, the market.
It's funny. I'm gonna let you in on a little secret, Riff. I have 3 potions that I've had since like Evening Star or something. It's just everybody keeps buying them or making them, and I'm just like, all right, I'm just gonna hold on to these 3 for now.
Well, I mean, I think he's pretty decent on healing potions now. I think he's gonna branch off because, something, and I'll role play it in. But I think he's gonna look for like flying potions or, you know, bless potions or liquid that he can use to bless his weapon, or whatever, things like that that will then enhance his capabilities. I mean, it's kind of like the Manticore javelins he's having made. Just adds to his ability to hit things that he can't get to normally.
and
So
and honestly, for the most part, like healing wise, like I feel like we've done all right with like our magic. I mean, you
yeah,
guys have had to use like potions a couple times and stuff, but like I feel like we've done okay with like magic so far.
yeah. I think from Rith's perspective, he's got most of the potions, mostly in case he, downs his own party.
Well,
He has given potions to people for that.
and
Yeah, yeah,
there might be fights where he's like out of range for us as well. So I mean, like,
yeah. No, I mean it's good to have. I mean he knows the capabilities of it and the benefit of them. So having it on him, isn't a bad thing for him.
yeah, like because like
For sure.
one thing that Rowan at least knows in his head is that if anybody needs them, it's gonna be Kovac and Rith. Because they're
Yeah.
gonna be the ones that are probably gonna take more hits than, well, usually they're.
I mean, Rith is at this point in time. Rith will step in front of anything,
Right.
for you,
Yeah.
for your character. He will literally step in front. The only reason, like the last battle, that he wasn't there was because, guys, let's run away, and he trusted Mike's judgment on that, from a character perspective. He obviously indicated that he knew what this was, and it wasn't something that they should fight. And while Rith's character as a character is more than willing to test his mantle, on things, from a character development perspective as well, he also understands he has limitations. And he will trust those individuals that show that they're worthy of him being trusted, and defer to their judgment on things that he doesn't know. So whole running around. I'm just running around. Why aren't you guys running? What the hell's going on?
Yeah. Did not expect to go down
Yeah.
right away in that fight. I really did think I was going to be able to distract it since Kovac didn't really share the information on why it was so deadly, just that it was deadly. So I figured the mirror image would keep me safe and you guys could run away and I could escape and then it's all good. But then I died.
Yeah.
Kurt went down so fast.
Yeah, and I mean, let's be honest. If Kerr wasn't running, Rowan wasn't running. Like he wasn't gonna run until he saw that Kerr was leaving.
Yeah, and then Lilith stayed behind too. Out of a sense of, I think that what he said he was trying to do with that supposed to be, um, kind of like I guess a bond that Lilith fills with some of the people too. So, it was interesting that those just ended up being the three people back, because when I found that creature and decided to use it, I mean, I'd found it long ago, and I was like, oh, this is a creature. I'd love to be able to use this at some point. But I think by the time I found it, our home campaign was way too far beyond anything we had challenged with. I thought there's three people in the group that would be the worst to encounter this. The first two, I was like, it's the bard and the rogue. Like, if those two people are up front, there's a good chance they just die. Because their con saves aren't that high. I forgot that Kerr's constitution was as low as it was. I thought it was higher, and Kerr was the third one. I was like, if those three people are near the front, it's a bad time. I said if Rith is near the front with his constitution, he's got a good chance of rolling through it. Because I think he's like, what, got a +6 or +7 to his con save?
Something like that. I mean, it's.
Is he an 18 con right now?
I think it's an 18 con, and it's a proficiency of his, so it's actually
So it'd be
about 7.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think mine's
So-
like a 1.
Right, which is I think what hers is too, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what Lilith was too, but she just rolled really high. But yeah, I mean, Rith would have 55-60% chance of making it through because it was as a DC 16. So, I mean, that gave all other three of you basically a 25% chance to succeed against it, and I think you rolled like a 2 or 3 for Kerr.
I rolled a 2.
Yeah, it was
What
real
was it,
low.
2?
Yeah. And I mean, if you failed by five or more, it's full damage, just 64 hit points. If it took you to 0, it was just straight dead. And there were no death saving throws, no 0. It's just dead.
Right.
Like, so playing that fight out, like, I thought that he was just like paralyzed or something. I didn't know he was just dead. So that's one reason why, like, I stuck around to try to do the dissonant whispers to at least keep it away from me. Because then at least it couldn't come towards me. But
yeah, and it was also because of the effects of Gate on the region, it was a bit Fey touched. So it had an additional ability, Fey teleportation. So it could use Misty Step and move 30 feet, which is how it got to Rowan.
Yeah.
Quickly did. So
if I would have moved, I could have just like kept running away and Eldritch blasting it from range, but I didn't know it was going to just come at me, but I was fine with it because I went so many rounds with that thing.
You did.
it attacked you twice. Yeah, it attacked you twice. And then on the third one, I think is when it got its death gaze back.
Yeah.
And
well,
put Rowan down for the count.
And luckily, because of my feat, the Infernal Constitution or whatever it is, it gave me advantage on the poison thing. Yes. And then even if it would have hit me, like I still had resistance to the poison damage. So.
Well, the poison, the stench was just it would just poison you. So
oh, okay.
You just have the poisoned effect, so you
gotcha.
just have disadvantage
on the stuff. Okay. I was thinking it hit me or something, but no, it missed me with its tail.
Yeah, the tail was just straight bludgeoning damage, but it was like 3d8 or something like that.
Yeah.
3d8 plus 4.
That's like all my hit points already. So, yeah, what is that? That's 28 if you roll max, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I have like 29 hit points.
It would have been, and like I said, it only had like 80 some hit points. So if, again, in a melee fight with Rith, it wasn't gonna last for very long.
Maybe a round or two. I mean, depends.
Uh,
Probably two
maybe-
rounds,
probably
2, 3.
3. Yeah, 2 to 3.
Yeah.
Well-
Well, I mean, if you throw in the other people's damage going towards it
Right.
too.
I was just say if it was Rith alone, but if it was everybody attacking it, it would have been a round and a half. It probably would have gotten maybe 2 actions, one from a distance and then one when it got up close.
Well, and kind of like you said, I was using the right spells because just by looking at the rolls, like it looked like it was the lower of its like options of rolling, because one was like charisma and then another was like wisdom or whatever.
Dexterity.
Or something. Yeah. So like I was using the right ones because that's probably the ones I had the best chance to hit it, but also at the same time I felt like I was using the right ones because everything I was doing at least half damage. So even if I wasn't getting it full, I was at least hitting it and damaging it.
Yeah, I mean both the spells you picked were the right ones because again, aside from intelligence, you were picking its lowest saves, and I was just rolling 17 or above in all of the saves for him, and that was kind of ridiculous. Did not anticipate it working that well because had you gotten the dissonant whispers on it once, yeah, it would have moved 30 feet away. As a reaction, and then the next turn it would have moved right back. But you would have done damage on it.
Right.
So there could have been, there would have been the potential to maybe drop it before it got its gaze back, with the dissonant whispers followed by flaming or the burning hands, and then I think you did dissonant whispers a second time.
Yeah, I did 2 dissonant whispers, and I
You cast one at a higher level.
Yeah, no, both times I went up to level 2 or whatever my highest level is, and then with the burning hands I don't have the option at what level I cast it in because it's the innate thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I had both of those just landed full out. There was the opportunity that maybe you could have dropped it. And
would have been funny actually, just be like bam bam bam. Ah. Rith is like, oh man, I don't want to mess with this guy. No, I'm just kidding.
Except I know I can hit you.
True. You're a dragonborn and you're not the DM.
That's right. That's right. That whole encounter there. I mean, so the whole after you guys did your role playing and actually figured out some information from the guy in the tavern, which was good. I enjoyed that aspect. That was Lilith and Kerr.
Yep.
You guys found out some of the things that were happening around there, and then traveled out, bypassing the 2 farms that you guys knew about. So glad I put information there for you guys.
Isn't it great to put in all that work and not see it go anywhere?
Hey, when you don't need it, you don't need it, right?
Yeah, no one needed it.
We'll stop on the way back. Oh well.
Well, we still haven't read the information that was given to us either.
No, you guys did read that. That's how you guys had the map to know where to follow. The scouts notes.
Yeah, because the mayor guy said something about like, well, you didn't look at that. Yeah. We gave that information and you guys didn't look at it, and then we read it when we went back to the tavern.
Like, oh, yeah.
One of my favorite parts is like, so I sent this letter to my old mentor guy, and I'm like, hey, yeah, I'm doing great. We're at this place, blah blah blah, and then I die. Right after.
Which would have been even funnier if he had stayed dead and then he shows up.
Yeah. Or the group gets a letter for me.
Yeah. I was thinking about that as you died, and I was like, oh man, he sent the letter. Oh man. Okay.
That would have been perfect.
In a couple of months, the group's gonna get a letter, and they're gonna go, Rowan. Oh, Rowan. Yeah. He died. Send it back.
There probably would have been two characters going, "Who's Rowan?"
Yeah.
Rith would have answered the door and seen the letter, and be like, "For Rowan, he's dead," and then close the door. It's like, no, I'm not gonna read the letter. It's Rowan, he's dead. Send it back.
He died gloriously in battle.
If only you guys knew the conversations going on in the background throughout that session.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what did you guys think of the gate part 2, though?
She had me. That was the second time the insight check failed. Because I incited her about something. And I rolled high again, and then she beat me again. And I was like, I actually messaged Kovac on Discord, and I was like, this better not be fucking Rebecca.
No, not Rebecca.
Not the succubus.
I thought about bringing her back at some point.
You should. It feels like a dangling thread that needs to.
I mean, she really liked.
You know what's funny?
She really liked Rith, but he keeps telling everyone that she really liked them.
True. What's funny is Rith had taken her home with the thought of potentially starting to date her. Because he, she was nice to him and he liked her, and so he was gonna ask her out. Hey, do you want to, get something to eat sometime?
Transforms into a succubus.
Sure, I'll eat your soul.
Why, you look tasty. But I guess the lady, or the Hate, as she called herself, as players, I mean, it's hard to introduce NPCs like that and not have people go, who is this person? I mean, you're generally suspicious of when you meet people at an objective that you're supposed to be doing, but as far as just the whole encounter itself,
I thought it was good, personally.
Yeah. It was the straw that broke Kerr's back. Yeah, it was good.
I 100% expected, like, when I stepped in front of Kerr on the pedestal, for him to just, like, shove me out of the way, like, not thinking, and, like, just shove me through, and then I fall through the portal. And then I'm stuck on the other side without anyone else. Also, it was the only thing that Rowan could think of, like, what's going to make him stop? I'll stand in front of him. Hopefully he doesn't hit me.
Yeah.
Rowan is effectively his newest, only little brother he's got. Yeah, it was a good call.
Yeah, I did like that development after the fight. So I think that for that fight, I had the red cap a little too far out because it took like 3 rounds to get there. But it was when I paralyzed Rowan, I think I got Lilith too.
Yep.
When both of you were paralyzed, and then Kovac was going to end up with 3 people around him, Rith was hitting. I think you hit the Yeth Hound, I think, right?
Yeah.
The Hound. Yeah. When you hit it, the battle was actually, again, it was one of those instances where I was like, wow, this is actually not looking too great for the party, because 2 party members are frozen or paralyzed, and that's automatic crits if they get hit.
Yeah, I was scared. I'm like, oh my god, lowest amount of
then I
hit points, and I'm paralyzed.
And then I missed again. Just like anytime I've got you in a spot where I'm like, oh, this is gonna be great because now I've got advantage on the hit. No, I think I rolled like a total of like 14 to hit or 17 to hit you. I think I rolled a 17. Your AC was 18.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, awesome. Awesome. Because you got the shield and the armor now.
Yeah.
With advantage, even missed.
I'm a battle bard. Trying to make Rith proud.
Right.
And the guy that Kovac was fighting, one of the creatures came up and hit Kovac, and if you thought Rith liked fighting or hitting things, this guy really liked hitting things. So he's like, I was like, he would. I think he would. Because of something that was on him that was kind of clouding his mind. I was like, if something comes up to hit something that he's hitting, he might attack it. So I rolled just to see what would happen. And so, yeah, he attacked his own ally. He was just like, die, and now I'm going to kill the thing in front of me. So
Kovac took a beating, though.
He took a big beating.
Well, I don't know if I mean, I don't know if he was trying to do something different. Like normally he sits in the back and backs up and throws his spells for a bit. Like this one, he just went straight in, and he's just like, wow, that's different.
Well, I think he was originally back, and then the
well, they came out from the side. Yeah,
they were hidden, so no one saw them.
Yeah, well, when he saw them, I half expected him to back up. Instead, he just drew his blade and went in, and it's like, go for it.
Yeah, and I when he started having things just kind of close in on him, and I was like, wow, he's gonna stick right there. Okay, because I know he has ways of getting out, and I was a bit surprised. But I mean, that's apparently he felt that he wasn't in a bad situation. So little did he know that Rith was coming to kill him.
Yeah.
At least he never found out.
Yes. Rith is grateful for that.
Yeah. No one.
Nobody knows he was.
Well, you were coming
charmed.
for the red cat first.
Yep.
And then after it went down, it was Kovac, and then if that guy behind him was still up, then it would have been him.
Yeah.
Kerr was starting to get close over there too at this time, wasn't he?
Yep.
At the very beginning, I thought, right?
Yeah, I was.
Because Kerr got hit real big at the beginning too.
Yeah, when the Yishound appeared,
yeah,
I got hit hard.
Yeah, I mean, if she had stayed and moved back away further, it could have been a pretty bad situation.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, in
took her opportunity, but yeah,
she was, it was more of she positioned herself by the portal so that way if things were turning, then she could leave.
Yeah.
And I think Rowan and Lilith kind of broke free of their paralyzation, and
I was getting ready to hit her, and she went back in, and I was like, no.
So it was a tactical withdrawal. I mean, just I was waiting to see if anybody would go after. I really was, because it would have been interesting because of where they would have ended up and how they would have played it from there. It wasn't necessarily like a death trap or anything on the other side. It actually could have been an interesting interaction.
That makes me feel like it was an instant death trap on the other side.
It does. Yeah.
It would have depended on how people would have acted. I mean, there was the potential that it could have been a TPK on the other side, but in most cases, it probably would have just been a let's see what happens when you leave again. Because Fey portals can take you to interesting places if someone's not directing you where you're going. So
My thought was, if we go over there, how do I get back?
that would have been the big thing too. Yeah.
I don't know how to use this gate.
But yeah, I mean, everything. There were several things about that whole instance that were definitely different, but and then Kerr and Rowan were kind of out of the rest of that particular episode afterwards.
Sure would have been.
I enjoyed watching it. It was fun.
Cataclepus.
I had to watch it twice.
Pretty sure Kerr was there too, weren't you?
For a bit, but my phone was about to die, so I had to duck out.
Yeah, I watched it.
Yeah, you were there with me and Spirit and stuff.
Since I was just kind of on vacation anyhow, and just sitting there.
Yeah, that part surprised me. I was like, wait, what's he doing here?
Well, we had the bowling tournament that weekend, and it was just like I was sitting at the table just thinking on future plans, whatnot, just thinking of ideas, and I was like, I might as well turn it on, because why not? I wouldn't mind seeing what happened again from point of view, but or helping to comment and keep people engaged about the awesomeness that was about to occur.
Yeah, before we ran it, I messaged my buddy that was there, and that was there for most of it anyway, and I was just like, I have this really strong feeling that you should watch this episode. I'm like, you always ask me about the fights, but you always end up leaving before they happen. So watch this one. There's a big fight.
And yeah, like I liked the I did enjoy the fact that Kovac used some of his connections to kind of help party members. The speak with dead part was fun.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that.
I'm glad they didn't speak with me.
Yeah. It was tough. Like, trying to maintain the evasiveness that Kerr has had in the past for the few questions he's been asked, while also trying to give enough information to give a hint on where his brain was at, it was hard.
Mm-hmm. So how what would Rowan's responses had been?
Well, the first one would have been similar, because the first answer was, "Is my family here?" or something like that.
Yeah.
Probably would have been similar. I don't know. He probably would have said, like, he feels like he belongs where he's at. Like, even though he doesn't show it like Kerr, like, if he was dead, he might actually just be like, I deserve to be here. Even though, like I said, he doesn't necessarily show it. He might have that feeling.
Yeah, that would have been interesting.
Yeah, I was surprised that Kerr came back, in all honesty.
I thought it was a 50-50 chance, really.
Yeah.
I mean,
a lot of it came down to purely me going, I don't want Mike's efforts of bringing in his character backstory to go to waste. I don't want to have to force Rowan to potentially have to be turned into a new character. Like, it was all a lot of just pure player going, man, if I don't, like, it's gonna cut the party in half and screw over potentially another player. And then I figured, since Kurt didn't know about Rowan's death, he would assume Rowan was still alive. and want to be there for him.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the questions were phrased just to kind of see if he had a purpose to come back, and that was, like I said, the person that was brought in to do the raise dead ritual. I mean, she didn't know him, and honestly, as a Shadarkai, it's less about, I mean, will they bring people back to life? Sure, if you have something to do in life that you need to take care of. If you don't, then sort your stuff out in the afterlife. They're perfectly fine with that. Death is just a part of the process, which I'm sure Kurt understands as well, being
Yeah.
a druid person and a person of nature. I mean, things die. But yeah, it was just more of determining whether or not he had a purpose to come back.
I still should have stayed dead after Kerr came back just to torment him even more. It would have broke him.
Yeah, even more.
That would have been interesting.
Well, Kurt was brought back first, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you did get to see that Rowan died.
I went straight into
Crying fetal position.
fetal
Yeah.
position.
Oh, that is
crying.
right. Yeah.
And basically the next spell would have been cast within 20 seconds of the other one. So he may have heard it, but
Yeah.
it's just that that whole shock of coming back to life, I'm sure would have been a bit discombobulating as well. Probably would have taken him a little bit of time to just finally realize what happened.
Right. Yeah, I don't think he heard it. He was completely in his own head at that moment.
Mm-hmm. As he had been for the past week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like dumping out all the alcohol.
Oh man.
That was fun.
Rith doesn't have intervention. You have. That's what you have. Interventions have Rith. That's
Yeah.
the way the saying goes. You have problems. Sit here.
Yeah.
Eat food. No, I need to eat. That was probably one of my favorite parts there too. It's like he tries to get up. No.
Also, the should we talk to him at some point about what's going on went from, we just sit him down, we give him the opportunity to tell us what's going on, to we're going to force him to talk.
Yep.
Yeah.
Don't let him leave.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the next playing session where we role play that all out.
We get into Arabelle, and I'm just gonna walk in the door and be like, "Lucy, I'm home. I need to talk to you."
Yeah. I am too. Not entirely sure how it's going to come out, but finding out everyone's reactions to what I've written for Patrick is going to be interesting.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that whole process as well, because again, I know that there is a variety of potential reactions based off of everybody's character background, their personality traits. You have people that deal with either conflict or life issues in a different way in the group. There's a wide variety of ways of dealing. Rith and Kovac are going to be very different from Rowan and Lilith.
Yeah.
And just the level of either compassion or understanding or just deal with your shit type of response is going to be interesting.
Don't worry, Kerr. I'm the kid with the heart ring and the monkey on his back.
Actually, I can't accept that because that's literally what Kerr can do.
Oh. Uh, fire?
Yeah, you're the fire guy.
Yeah, I'm not sure how Rith's gonna respond yet either. To it because for Rith, it's a sense of betrayal that has
Right.
happened.
Yeah.
You
He
know,
abandoned the group.
yeah, in a time that was needed. So yeah, I don't know. I haven't quite figured out how that's all gonna go yet. So it'll be interesting to play all that out. I'm looking forward to it.
I have a pretty good idea of how my talking to him is gonna go. And everyone may react to it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's. I'm interested to see if this draws out conversation from everybody too, because like Rith is not a person of a lot of words, but I have a feeling if Rith has something to say, I have a feeling he'll say it.
Yeah.
Probably won't be a great exposition or anything, but it'll be direct and to the point.
Sending.
Yeah. It's the Saitama thing, say it in 20 words or less. But like I said, Kovac is going to be similar. I think Rowan, of course, has more of a relationship with her, and I honestly don't know what Lilith's approach is going to be. I have a feeling she'll try to be a little bit more compassionate because that's something that she's demonstrated in the past a little bit, trying to relate. I think in the last couple of episodes with Kerr, understand or try to demonstrate some understanding of what he's gone through.
Right.
But
Because she did ask, like,
yes,
straight up.
yeah.
I haven't
I think
asked.
I have a feeling she'll try to be. In my eyes, I have a feeling she'll probably try to be the most understanding of what's gone on. Whereas Rith and Kovac are probably going to be the ones that are going to just be like, look, you're going to deal with this right now or something.
get out.
Yeah. Yeah. So it'll just be interesting to see how I guess the two moderators of the talk person who they're explaining when everybody catches up with each other. We'll have 2 weeks to continue thinking about that.
Yeah, I'm going to need it.
Yeah. I think this was. I mean, it was nice to have this too, so we can kind of just rehash some of the things that's gone on and get an opportunity to plan that out a lot more. Again, it's a big thing, and so we've kind of reached the end of the first arc of the campaign, where you guys have basically established your charter, start other things and new storylines popping up, maybe some old ones coming in. Becca.
Yeah, we gave you ideas, didn't we?
I've been thinking about her for a while.
Me too.
I've
Rith
been
told me
thinking
that
about
she
ways.
said she liked me.
But I have been thinking about ways to bring back in potentially. Just been it's a it's an interesting concept to play with. I don't know. Did Doug say he gave you stuff for his character? Did you get through?
He said he was going to, but never did. So.
Oh well.
It's like he plays Lilith.
I think he gave it to me and then he stole it back. You know. He took
Have you
from
found
the
some
group
teeth
again.
in your pockets?
What the heck? Why was that? That's why there was money under my pillow.
Can't think of anything else that I know. Is there anything else here that you guys have?
I wrote up some questions, but we
Yeah.
covered all of it.
Oh, did we? Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, that's good, I guess. I mean,
Yeah, my biggest one was just gonna be like asking people how they thought like the campaign was going so far, but like we pretty much hit on that
Right.
earlier. So
Since we talked about our character's growth, is there anything that you went into the game expecting to play it through and then have the events change the direction in a way that you didn't expect?
for me,
Well, for anybody.
Not really for me. Necessarily. I mean, I lean towards going not multi-classing, and just going straight barbarian. But as events have unfolded, I my character's leaning towards a multi-class, which isn't out of the norm for me. It's very rare that I play one specific class all the way through to 20. I usually like to multi-class to give the character a little bit more diversity
Right.
in what they do. Pat can attest to that.
yeah.
So, no, not really. I mean, I did go in thinking I would go through to level 20 barbarian, and with recent events, like I've just kind of thought that no, I think he would go this route a little bit first. So and it may evolve even further, but yeah, not really.
I mean, mine's probably similar. Like, for sure, when I started, I just thought going 20 levels bard, just all the way through. That's what I'm gonna do. It's where my mind was set. And then like things have just changed where I was like, maybe he would throw in a little bit of warlock, especially like whenever, and especially whenever like she started talking to him about his past a little bit and like saying she could help and that kind of thing like that uh really like took hold with him, I guess. And then like even right now I'm like, okay, so how do I want to split my levels? And I'm like, I don't know, because it depends on what happens. Maybe he'll go because he has a reason, I guess, for going bard. I mean, I guess that kind of goes back to the question that Tim asked earlier, like the character, like what was the motivation for it or whatever. But he has a reason for being a bard, and that whole reason could change down the line. Like there could be something that makes him think, well, maybe I'll just go over here with Miss Raven Queen and hang out with her a lot more, like it just, I don't know. I don't even know where I'm going now. And then like I guess one other thing kind of with Rowan is I went into it just thinking that he would just be like using all these people for his own gain, basically, like to protect him, like the way I wrote it up for Kerr, him and Kerr kind of coming into the story together. And then he's just kind of realized that like now he's gaining like more a family because it's something that he's missing.
Yeah, there hasn't really been anything from mine end yet as DM. Mainly because like, I wasn't. I thought about introducing some personal storylines in for you guys, but then I wanted to get through this whole charter business because I know that the group was basically using that as bonding experience. Getting to really mesh, and I wanted there to be some group cohesion before any personal storylines come in. Because like with our home game, I had things lined up that I was going to do, but because there was never that chemistry built between the party, there was no reason that anybody else in the party would care about anyone else's personal storyline. There'd be no reason for them to go on a quest. Like with Tim's character Dim, I had a whole idea dealing with like his character's past and his mother, his archdevil father. like there was something in there that I was going to do, but I was at the end I was like, I mean, really not any kind of cohesion in the party where if he came up with something like this that his character would, one, ask them for help for the most part, two, whether or not the party would join him. And I think I kind of learned from that experience that I was going to let you guys just kind of build up the group, build some chemistry, build some relationships. Then I'll eventually start dribbling in some stuff here and there.
Yeah.
Curse was kind of the first one that I threw in there, mainly because it was kind of tied into what brought you guys together anyhow. I've tried to do some stuff for Kovac thus far, but done anything yet. Whether or not he will, it'll be up to him. So some of the other ones might be a little less subtle, we'll say. Some people's cases, other people's cases might require a little bit of research or investigation to finally get to. So I'll be interested to see what happens once those personal storylines come up. But I mean, we gotta get through this whole next session piece with Kerr and find out what's gonna happen with the group from there too.
Right.
You know, if the group can find a way to start building the trust or build those relationships again, then it presents more opportunities.
Yeah, like you said, with it, having to build up the trust, I feel like, I guess from Rowan's perspective, now, as opposed to at the beginning, he feels like that if he would ask, like, guys, this really means a lot to me, that he would definitely have a better chance of everyone trying to help him out with it, as opposed to, like you said, at the beginning, like, because there wasn't much of a, like a feeling for everyone towards each other or whatever. And
yeah,
but now for sure he feels, at least he would hope that, like, well, let's say prior to last session, he definitely feels like Kerr would help him and Rith would help him for sure. Like Kovac would probably go with him. Lilith is still always on the outside. If there's enough money, she might go. I don't know. But I mean, that's kind of how he feels as a character, I guess.
How about you?
Yeah, I went into this with a bit of a plan. And after about session 3, it all went out the window. I'm still trying to stick a bit to personality wise on how I'm going to try to progress. So taking observant was entirely because of Lilith and how just untrustworthy she really is, and the need to keep an eye on her. And admittedly, the last session has thrown out what I had replaced it with almost entirely. I was attempting to go full druid, but depending on how the next session goes, that might change.
Cool. I like it.
Yeah, that's like I said, leaving things open like that is I think it's fantastic, just because it leads to a more natural character growth, character progression. Let the character define itself.
I think this is the first character I've ever done that with too, honestly. Not that I've played like tons of characters, because probably, well, I can't say probably. I feel like probably in our group, I might be like one of the least experienced as far as like years played or whatever. And so like I haven't played a ton, but like the only time I ever remember like multi-classing or anything like that was, well, when someone else sitting here played a cleric. And I played a ranger, but the ranger went into arcane archer. So, I had to take a level of like wizard or sorcerer or something, and on this stuff. And it was actually in Pathfinder as opposed to like D&D, but yeah,
Same
but
system, roughly.
yeah, pretty much. it was basically 3.5. So I mean, it felt the same. And oh, were those some fun characters?
Sure. Sure.
I may have tormented the cleric a little.
Yeah, it's an understatement.
What?
I mean, they worked well together for some reason, but yeah, you tormented him to the point of I changed alignment.
I collected trophies. Like every time I would kill something, I'd cut its head off and keep it. And we were in like some tall grass or something, and I saw something move and ended up like decapitating like a town guard and didn't know what it was. And all my character was doing was trying to give his friend a trophy. It may have happened to be the town guard that he murdered, but it was a trophy.
Right. It also came with the desecration of one of the high cleric's graves and leaving those robes in my bed.
Gee, that sounds
familiar.
oddly familiar.
In our home campaign, we were fighting against the cultists, and one of the first things that my character Dim does with this new paladin who is obsessed with these cultists is leave some cultist items in his bed.
The robe.
The robe specifically in his bed for him.
After like the first person outside of the group that the paladin talks to, the paladin of Tyr, god of justice. First person he talks to happens to be a dwarf named Tordik, who was think of TV evangelist for Tiamat. He loved Tiamat. He had a pamphlet that I named that said Tiamat and you, and was basically a pamphlet about converting to Tiamat. And he was, whenever you met him, he was an incredibly nice guy, very persuasive. And then the first thing the paladin hears, he's like, "Oh, you're going?" He's like, "Yeah. Would you like to hear about my goddess Tiamat?" And he went, because his backstory was that his family was killed by the cult of the dragon. Like at one point, they raided his home, so he lost his family to the cult of the dragon, to Tiamat worshiper. And I think Mike's character was the one that took him away because he was like, "Do I smite him now?" That was like his only response was smite. I have to smite this character. I have to smite this dwarf in front of me. I have to kill it. And after that point, because Dim was the way he was, still kind of is, he was like, "Yeah, there might be cultists all over this wagon going up north."
Which was a true statement.
There was a fair amount. There was a number of cultists, yes. He made it seem like it was a much larger number, like everybody was a cultist. So now the paladin is just on edge, and then he sneaks into his tent and covers him with a robe of the cult of the dragon. It was just like, I was like, "You dick! You're just making this so much worse."
Yeah, that's terrible.
And I'll add to the preface, this is when he just joined our group too.
This was the first night, first camping day. Just talked to him on the entire way up there, being like, "Yeah, there are a lot of cults in this group. We don't know. We might have to everybody." And thank Tyler's good soul, he played it perfectly.
Perfect. It was great. It was a great interaction back and forth. I love it.
Well, and then they became like, "You're really erratic, and you're not helping the party at all." It's like, gee, why? And so he ended up breaking his paladin vows and started following Baba Yaga due to an agreement he made with her. So he became an Oathbreaker paladin, but it wasn't like the evil Oathbreaker, because Baba Yaga isn't necessarily evil, more of a chaos one.
Yeah.
So now
Well, even before that, I mean, at one point, like the party basically almost broke up
oh
completely.
yeah, and even and then the party did split. Like one member split off,
Yeah.
and yeah, it was oh paladin.
Well, I mean, you have he's a 16-year-old rogue.
And the paladin was 20.
Kids.
Yeah.
So not really.
And the paladin judged him because he was a tiefling right away.
Yeah.
So that kind of threw him like, wow, shit with this guy.
Tieflings.
Tieflings. It's always fun when you have people who have like teenage characters and then play them like actual teenagers, and you're like, yeah, I have teenagers and kind of the way they are, dick. Like,
Yeah.
One thing about like our campaign now is like if no one was paying attention throughout the campaign, there was only like one time that people would have probably noticed that I was a tiefling. It's because I took my hat off and you could see the horns a little bit. But the only other time that anybody would know that Rowan was a tiefling is whenever she came out to revive him and was like, "Oh, a tiefling."
yeah. Otherwise, you just look like a regular human.
Yeah. Tried to hide it.
From Ritzbreg, he doesn't care.
Right.
Well, and you always wore that white brim hat too, don't you?
Yeah. Basically, I have like a hat that kind of covers like the horns, and then I think what I told you is that I have like a like essentially like a pocket that I put my tail in and my coat or whatnot, so that like I look normal. And
you said you had long hair, so it kind of helps cover up the horn, and then the rest of it is just behind it.
That's the best part when Kerr's trying to buy flowers. Well, what color are you? I'm human colored.
Yeah.
Like you jerk.
I was gonna try to match it to help, really force the issue that it was you giving the flowers and not someone else.
I did like that part
Yeah.
too. Which is interesting because like I try to I mean just an insight into some of the stuff that I do. Like any of the NPCs that are recurring or could be recurring coming up. I mean, while you guys are doing stuff, I try to keep notes on stuff that they're doing. You guys are doing your stuff. So I've got like 2 or 3 Word documents that are dedicated just to like NPCs interactions, what they're doing while you guys are off. So if you guys come back and you want to talk to somebody, are they there? Are they gone? Has something happened? So, like with Shelby and the whole dealing with everything that happened down in that basically temple area or shrine. So, I mean, as she told Rowan, I mean, it had a lasting impact on her that she's still coming to terms with. So, like I said, I try to keep track of my NPCs like that, so that way, hopefully, they go through the same type of character progression that you guys have to go through. And
at least
You have a side question on that then.
Yeah.
Or potential, I guess. From that perspective, I mean, we've started our own charter, our own group, the Outlanders. Are there going to potentially be people that want to join our group? Adding NPCs, adding other characters into the group, that do other missions outside of that? Because I mean, from a organization standpoint, growing our ranks would be something that could be considered beneficial to us.
well, yeah, I mean that would be something that the group would have to discuss and decide. Because I mean, there are other, as you guys were told, there are other adventuring charters in Erebus that are
Yeah, because we could have potentially gone and tried to join one of them instead of establishing our own.
definitely. And so, I mean, if you guys wanted to have people join up, it would be more a manner of you would have to. One, I mean, you'd have to have the place to house them, of course. Whether or not, and decide basically what would you want your charter to look like. What type of adventuring charter would you be setting up? You'd have to find the people that you wanted to bring in. So basically, just putting out either adverts or soliciting for people to come join your charter.
I want a butler.
Well, and that is a thing too. Like you guys have the inn.
Yeah, I know.
So if you guys wanted staff or something like that, then yeah, staff is an option. You could go through avenues that you know of, or you could look for people yourself. It's just a matter of making sure that they have either a place to stay there, or if you're just coming for them, if you're just having them to take care of stuff during a set time frame, either way, you're just gonna have to set a pay scale for them and determine how much you want to pay. Because when you guys are doing this whole thing, I wrote up a list of like 20 or 30 NPCs that could potentially be help for whatever you might people to do, and they all come with different price rates based off of their experience, where they've live, what their needs are. So
I think that's something Rith will probably explore just from his standpoint, because like I've said, material isn't necessarily something that he's, the magic items, all that isn't what he's all into, but having a cook on hand to give him a meal at the end of the day.
Is there something wrong with Kurt's cooking?
well,
Yes.
one of the things that I mentioned too is that, like, when you guys got the inn, there's really nothing in the larder. There's nothing in behind the bar necessarily. There were like a few things as far as like grains go, but there really isn't. I mean, there is a kitchen in there that does that has pans and stuff in there. Previous tenants, they're not great, but probably find someone to cook for you. You just have to stock stuff up. So you just set aside money to have food be purchased, make sure that someone's taking care of that stuff for you, whether or not you want to have someone coming by and cleaning.
Yes.
Or someone there to clean.
It's kind of something like I thought about too, is like we should have someone that like could be there for people to come to even when we're gone, that can try to present, missions that they think that we may be wanting to take. And then also at the same time, I was like, we definitely should probably just hire someone to get food for us, like hire someone to like bring food to us, weekly or whatnot, or however often we might need it, or and it could even be the same person. Like, hey, when we're gone, you can easily just go out, get some food, even if it's got to be delivered or something, just order it for us. Or but also too, like, like you were saying, the bigger we get or the better we get, it could have an adverse effect too if you think about it. Like, there could be other charters that are like, these guys are stealing all my jobs, let's take them out. I don't know if that's a thing within charters or not, but I mean, I could see it.
Rivalries, competitions.
Mhm.
Sure, why not?
Yeah. You guys don't really know a whole lot of how the politics of how adventure charters work. Like I said, I mean, those are all. I have ideas and stuff. So I mean, if there's a point once the group is back in town, if you guys, after this instance, if you're taking some time to figure some stuff out, there's definitely opportunities for that.
Yeah, I mean, we've been going and going and going, so there really hasn't been a huge opportunity to explore those avenues. I was just kind of curious in regards to the, NPCs being brought in, or other group classes, like other fighters, other barbarians, other clerics, things like that being brought in, and what it meant. So
yeah, those are all definitely possibilities. I've left that open if you guys want to explore expanding the charter or doing something like that. That's a possibility. No problems there. It would just be if you guys wanted them doing jobs for you. depending on the autonomy you wanted to give members inside of your, it would either be you guys would go and accept a bunch of jobs and be like, all right, these people are going to do it. And then I could run that on the background and let people know how it goes. You know, yeah, it's definitely a possibility. Or even just having help or staff around the place too, if you guys want to make things easier for yourself, like you said, a cook, butler, an attendant, or kind of a steward is, I guess, mainly what you would think about if you're wanting someone to present a good image for the group. So, yeah, those are all definitely things we can, you guys can approach, I guess, after we take care of your situation. Or,
Yeah.
like I said, if
after the last one, it might. Sorry, after the last one, it might be like a situation where we all want to just like take at least a day or 2 or 3 or 4, to just stop or slow down for a minute.
Mm-hmm. You guys have had in instances, I think, in the recent where you had maybe 2 days. Like you come back either in the afternoon, rest for the day. You have the next day where you take care of any errands that you want to run, and then the next day you're like, all right, back out.
Mm-hmm.
So the group has been kind of going almost nonstop for almost a full month. So if you guys have an opportunity where you want to do some stuff, and we can always decide if we want to, how much of that you want to role play out. I mean, if you're just talking of finding for staff, I mean, if you want to role play a lot of that out and do the interviews, I can. Otherwise, I can let you know what the options are as a group, and then you can kind of decide.
Rith definitely needs to be the interviewer.
I mean, I think I might enjoy if we did that doing the interview process, but I know there's like a point where it's like that's enough. We really shouldn't force our viewers through this.
Yeah, and that's the point. It's like you can, how much you want to do, how much you don't want to do.
Yeah.
I'm open for either one, and like I said, I have stuff written out for a lot of people, so it's not really a big issue for me to pull them in. Got them in, set aside in one of my. I have basically little things like this where I put a lot of my notes and notebooks and loose pieces of paper for things that I write down in, so that way it's all nice and neat in one place, except for stuff that's still on my desk back here, because the ADHD is still strong, and organization is not necessarily my strongest.
Yeah, I know the feeling about having so many notes like that.
I know.
It's a burden.
I wouldn't have had the outline if you didn't do that.
True.
So, well, I think we got through most of our stuff, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Aside from anything that Mike or Doug would have wanted to ask, but that's their fault for not being here.
Yeah,
their fault.
I kind of felt bad when I suggested this as like the episode. I was like, well, they're not gonna be here, and I don't want them to feel like, because to me it's kind of like a here's where we're at. Only D-Day people understand. Like a video, just to be like, okay, so it's been a year, you know what, let's stop and talk about it for a second. And then I was like, I feel bad because they're not going to be here, and I don't want them to feel like we're doing it without them. That's why I wanted to ask and make sure they were both okay with it.
Yep. And if they have anything they want,
right,
it'll be on YouTube for everybody to watch.
Yeah, I'll probably separate it into like a different
playlist.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
That way, if we do more like this, we've always got like a playlist that we can kind of add this into or whatever.
Yeah. But this was good. I mean, I enjoyed this. Maybe at the
Yeah.
end of whatever the next arc is, we can touch base again, or
Sure.
after we get through enough content that we have plethora of things to talk. So, but it's good to recap. It's nice to rehash what's gone on, talk about changes that the characters have gone through, the way the plot's developed. I'm looking forward to this next session a whole.
So is
you-
Kerr.
Partially, it'll be me not talking a whole. So that is something that's hard for me. I'll stay quiet. So. Anyhow, that will end up of tonight's episode. For anybody who stopped by, thanks for stopping by. If you watch this on YouTube, thank you. We hope you enjoyed. This gives you a little bit of insight as how we think, how we play, and the direction that we want things to go. And as much as we enjoy doing this for us, we also enjoy doing that enjoys watching our content. So we hope you all have a wonderful night, and we'll see you in 2 weeks for the wonderful confrontation.
All right. Take care, guys.
See you later.
See ya.
Bye.